Guerrillas, comrades of the American Communist Party, I come to you tonight with some regrettable news that I am sure you have already been exposed to by now, which pertains to the treachery and betrayal of two former members of the American Communist Party Politburo. Pursuant to elucidating and explaining and clarifying the laws and protocols established by our party constitution, namely in this case, Article 8, Section 6, which prohibits the unauthorized use of communications and forces all matters pertaining to party business and affairs to confine themselves to the appropriate channels of communication. I'd like to issue a clarification. In this extraordinary circumstance, in which two former members of our party and our Politburo have decided to illegally, and in the case of the law, not just in the case of our party constitution law, but even in the case of U.S. law, which is funny because one of them seems to be interested in throwing stones in glass houses as it pertains to that. But pursuant to acting in conformity with the laws of our party, I'd like to take note of the extraordinary and exceptional circumstances. There has been a breach in our security and our protocols of internal communication in which a one-sided picture of events, in addition, just outright lies that have no basis in reality whatsoever, and we'll get to that, don't worry, has been communicated to the general public. It is now incumbent upon me, and I am tasked to, on behalf of the Executive Board of the American Communist Party, communicate to the public in a similar capacity about the full story, the context and the details and the facts that Danny Shaw and John Mollera are leaving out. I've been entrusted by the Executive Board of the American Communist Party to deliver these facts and this story outside of party official communications. And the reason is very simple. We're not going to demean and insult the integrity of our party by responding to these petty individuals and their individual gibberish. Our party will not lower itself to the status of taking seriously the defections of a few individuals who lack the manhood and discipline to commit to the principle, the basic principle of collective organization that is the foundation of Marxism-Leninism everywhere and anywhere that it has been applied throughout world history. Instead, I will take this opportunity to calmly respond to the various accusations and claims they have made, specifically about my person, in a more informal capacity on my stream, the infrared stream. They have decided to go outside of the party and to the general public, and I will do the exact same thing. And to be clear, before we get into anything, there is nothing I have done in the service of the American Communist Party that I am ashamed to disclose fully to the public. There is nothing about my person or about my character that I am ashamed of disclosing fully to the public. Why certain information has been concealed and not given to the public completely is because the public, in the heat of the moment, cannot be given the full story immediately. It's easy to present a one-sided depiction of facts and a few clips taken out of context than to actually force the general public to commit to the time of actually understanding the full breadth and the full story, the full breadth of events in all their rational integrity and their succession. That takes time. That takes hours. It doesn't take the few seconds that a tweet does. And by the way, because one of the fundamental forms of reasoning that's being used to accuse the party and myself of being a cult and me being a cult leader is that we have these constitutionally established protocols of information and operational security. They are standard procedure for any communist party in history. They're even standard procedure for a lot of corporations. Absolutely, among leadership, you are not supposed to leak discussions. You're not supposed to run to the public or even run to the rank and file for that matter. You're supposed to keep it internal. That's exactly how every party in history has operated. So to say that we're a cult for that is just ridiculous. By the way, this is something that was established in our Constitution, which I'm going to remind you throughout this video. Danny Shaw and John Malera, without having any gun pointed at their head, decided to ratify themselves at our convention. So if we were a cult for having these procedures of how information is organized and controlled, why did they not take issue with it at the convention? Why did they not raise even a single muttering, a single thing then and there? Why are they doing it now? Well, stay tuned and you're going to get the full story, and hopefully things will maybe make a little more sense to you with respect to what their actual motivations are and why they're doing this. But again, to reiterate, the overwhelming majority of the things that they are talking about and saying, if true, which they're not, by the way, would have had to have been true since the very founding of the party itself. What they have yet to explain and justify is exactly why they've decided to do this now. Well, you need more facts. You need more information. That's what I'm here to provide and to give you. By the way, speaking of things that I'm not ashamed to disclose to the public, I have concealed my name for years for the simple reason that these demons and these scumbags that have a problem with me have set the precedent of going after people's families. And I've concealed my name to protect my family. But my real name, which, by the way, is not Ali, it's Ali. Named after Ali ibn Abi Talib, Imam Ali. I'm not ashamed of that name. I've lived my entire life, trying to live up to the honor and the respect that is attached to that name. And if I haven't identified that way to the public all these years, it's because I do understand I'm an incredibly imperfect individual. And I'm nothing like the real Ali. I don't hold a candle to him. But I'm ashamed of that name? Absolutely not. That's always been my name. My name is Haz al-Din. That's the name you've known me by. But the name that my father gave me is Ali. And I am not ashamed of that name at all. And I am regarding the doxing attempts by Danny Shaw and John Malera not as an attack on me, but as an attack on my family. And there's simply no other way to cut it or put it. Now, let's get down to business and discuss what this is all about. I'm going to address this in the order of the gravity of the accusations being made, specifically from the perspective of U.S. law. And that is the reason I'm going to begin with Mr. Danny Shaw, or like he goes to call himself, Professor Danny Shaw. Now, I otherwise would not begin in this order because Danny Shaw is not a person that is worth taking seriously at the level of the merits of his character or his personality. And you're going to discover this very quickly when you get the whole story about who Danny Shaw is and what his conduct within our party has been for the months that he has been with us. The reason I'm beginning with Danny Shaw is because this ridiculous character and this idiot randomly decided out of nowhere to make up a really dangerous accusation. What's the reason for this accusation? I'm just going to lay it on the table for you right now. In all likelihood, the reason Danny Shaw is making this outlandish, stupid claim for which there is zero evidence, and there will never be any evidence because it has no basis in reality, is because he is being compelled to create the public pretext for a federal investigation. A pretext, by the way, federal agencies haven't had. If you don't know about U.S. law, the law doesn't work like how people on the internet try to tell you, that they just do whatever they want without any procedures. If they are tapping your phones and tapping all of your stuff, only the DHS really has the ability to do that, and it's not admissible in court without sufficient grounds for an actual legal federal investigation. They have nothing on us, by the way, but they don't even have the pretext to launch a federal investigation against us because we've actually done nothing illegal, if you can believe it. We've done nothing illegal. So Danny Shaw, for whatever mysterious reason, the reason he made that crazy claim isn't because it even has a grain of truth in reality. It's because he is being compelled, in all likelihood, I see no other rational motivation for this, to create the public pretext for a federal investigation. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I don't fear such an investigation, because the outcome of said investigation is going to bear no fruit, because I am completely innocent of the charge. I am not guilty of interfering in any way in Haiti's affairs. I've done nothing. He claims that we were making plans to run guns through Haiti. Please, provide the evidence, Danny, because you've just made an actionable claim, which you're going to be held accountable for legally. And I'm going to make sure of that if it's the last thing I do. Give us the evidence and show us the evidence that I'm running guns. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? I'll tell you where it came from. Let me explain to you the curious case of Professor Danny Shaw. Now, years before I had ever known Danny Shaw, Danny was a guy who was very interested in Haiti. He would always go to Haiti because he wants to be this, third world reporter. Whatever, I don't care. Again, he's not a person who particularly interests me, right? But in any case, while he was in Haiti, he was desperately trying to, link up with Kim Ives and Dan Cohen, who were there on the ground and in their journalistic capacity reporting on it with all the right connections and whatever. And Danny felt like he was not being given recognition by Kim Ives and Dan Cohen. He felt that they were not giving him opportunities to talk with leaders in Haiti, and that they were kind of brushing him, they were brushing him to the side. He felt discarded. He felt like he wasn't being recognized. And that created a years-long, very personal, extremely personal, and extremely petty conflict between Danny Shaw and Dan Cohen. Now, Dan Cohen and Kim Ives, I'm sure, will testify to all of this. The nature of Danny's problem with them has always been personal. It has nothing to do with politics, and it has nothing to do with their disagreements about what the situation in Haiti is. As a matter of fact, Danny was on the same page as they were as far as their appraisement and assessment of the situation until the personal beef happened. And then Danny decided to completely say that they had the wrong position on Haiti and that he had the correct one. This is years-long beef he's had with them that predated the party. Now, I was never interested in that beef. I don't care about it. I don't care about his personal issues with Dan Cohen and Kim Ives. But there did come a point where our party did have to deliberate and decide what kind of statement do we want to release and what kind of public stance should we take with respect to what's going on in Haiti. Because at the time, there was a U.S. invasion being discussed and floated, and there was an invasion being organized from, I think it was the African Union or something, or the UN Security Council. I don't know. I forget all the details. But in any case, intervention in Haiti was happening. And we were a little bit lost as a party as far as what our position should be. Now, Danny held on to the view that Barbecue is the worst guy ever, and whatever, he's killing everyone for no reason, and he's burning everyone down because he's a horrible, horrible, terrible guy. And Dan Cohen and Kim Ives had a different perspective. And to be honest, after talking to Dan Cohen, I was kind of convinced that his was the more logical, the more rational, and more backed up by empirical evidence and facts. If you want to know where Dan Cohen is coming from, I recommend you watch his documentary on barbecue. Read their work on the matter. But that was my view. My personal view was that I think they had the correct line, which is that, objectively speaking, barbecue was resisting imperialism. Again, I don't know barbecue. We have nothing to do with it on a personal level. It's just what kind of public line we wanted to take. Like, did we want to, because you need to understand the full context. Danny was firing off constant articles during the invasion demonizing barbecue. We didn't really think that was logical to do when there's about to be an invasion under the pretext that barbecue is this horrible, horrible, terrible guy. So we were trying to Danny, they're literally being invaded right now. This is like on the eve of the invasion of Iraq. Even Saddam wasn't a good guy, but if you're just constantly smearing Saddam, it's kind of not the right time or place to be doing that. So that was kind of the nature of the dispute and the conflict. It was because of the immediacy of that intervention that prompted us to sort out and have a correct line about Haiti, okay? And Danny was not convincing me, because Danny's arguments were all emotional. All of the facts he was presenting were incredibly inconsistent, incredibly discombobulated and disjointed, and every time I talked to him on the phone or when he was in meetings with us, he couldn't rationally present his arguments in a way that was convincing to us. It really seemed like the basis of his position was just personal pettiness. We were all convinced of that, okay? That was a huge factor here. But still, we didn't know the facts. So the executive board deliberated, and we said, look, we want to know the facts. We want a fact-finding mission, not to send people to Haiti, but to give Danny Shaw the opportunity to confront Dan Cohen and Kim Ives about what they're lying about. Because all Danny would do is write articles. They're liars! They're liars! Fine. We want to know what they're lying about. We want to know who's correct and who's giving an accurate picture of what's going on in Haiti. So we decided to organize in private a meeting. Dan Cohen, Kim Ives, Danny Shaw, me, and Kyle. Kyle was coming from the executive board. So was I, but Kyle wanted to be there as well. Okay? So this meeting, it's funny because I really don't know if Danny Shaw even has the legal pretext to release that meeting, but I'm very curious to see if he's going to release that meeting in full, by the way. Because that's the meeting, by the way, where he accused me of plotting to run guns to Haiti. I think that if he released that meeting, something I would not condone, by the way, legally, but if he were to release that meeting, you would see exactly, not only that he's a liar, that's a given, but what has been eating away at Danny Shaw's brain, if he has a brain. You would see exactly why he felt compelled to go down this path. Because Kyle and I were desperately throwing Danny bones and saying, Danny, they just gave us the following facts about, because Danny, for example, would say that barbecue burned down this neighborhood for no reason. And then Dan and Kim Ives would be like, actually, this was a police neighborhood with all these corrupt people engaging in crimes, and they were already in a war, and that the police gang allied with some other ruthless, brutal warlord and gang who barbecue. So, like, there was all this missing context that Danny wouldn't give us, right? So, basically, we would ask Danny, is what they're saying correct? And he'd say, well, yeah. Every single time they would say anything, Danny wouldn't push back. Danny rolled over and fully... I'm not saying there was a debate and he lost the debate. That would at least be understandable. But why I basically lost all respect for Danny Shaw on a personal level after that meeting is because for as much as he's like yelling and shouting about Dan Cohen and Kim Ives elsewhere, he was as quiet as a mouse. He had his head down. He would kind of whisper into the mic wherever called upon to talk by me and Kyle, and he was not standing on business. He wasn't saying anything. He wasn't doing anything. He was conceding to every single thing they were saying, and he was compelled to be backed into a corner and just be like, he couldn't even justify himself, all right? He was humiliated. We didn't want to humiliate him. We kept giving him opportunities to defend his position and respond because this was a fact-finding mission. It wasn't a plot. We weren't here to plot about how the American Communist Party is going to take over Haiti, all right? We were here to get facts about what's going on in Haiti. And Danny had a perspective, and Dan Cohen and Kim Ives had a perspective. And Danny fully submitted and acquiesced to Dan Cohen and Kim Ives, his complete arch nemesis on a personal level, okay? So that is exactly kind of what started things, okay? That is exactly what kind of started Danny's resentments. Now, with respect to what he's claiming about Haiti, that I'm running guns to Haiti, the reason I think he's saying that is because during the meeting with Dan Cohen and Kim Ives, because it was a fact-finding mission, one of the jobs of Kyle and I, we wanted to know the geopolitics of Haiti. Because during the time of the invasion, Russia and China had vetoed the UN Security Council on a resolution to send some kind of army to intervene in Haiti to deal with the situation. So all I did I'm going to repeat myself. And they will confirm this, by the way. And I hope the FBI or whoever has the Zoom meeting and whatever. Because you will see that all I did was ask, basically, in so many words, all I did was ask, hey, what do Russia and China think about this guy, barbecue? Like, do they have a position on Haiti right now? Because they did that thing at the UN Security Council. So, like, what is their... And I was even very careful about the way I asked that question. Because, I didn't know if some information was confidential or whatever. So I was even very careful in how I phrased that incredibly legal and innocent question. I don't know how you go from there to making this claim that we're plotting to run guns to Haiti. I don't know how you make that leap. I don't know what the point. That's why I'm saying that I think the reason he made that incredibly drastic leap in reasoning and inference is because he has been tasked and compelled with the job of creating a public pretext for a federal investigation, which there is literally none right now, okay? He has publicly made an accusation that is accusing me of a crime, basically, right? And that is something the federal agencies and authorities have to take seriously. So now there is a public pretext for a federal investigation. There wasn't that there before, okay? By the way, the meeting happened November 1st, so this happened early November. And Danny, this very upstanding, honorable, principled person, revealed no intention to anyone that he would ever take things this far because of... Danny told the entire Politburo that he acquiesces to the outcome, and, let's keep on... let's keep on rolling, comrades, let's keep on rolling. Let's keep on going, comrades. We can do it. Like, you have to understand what a snake this guy is. Not a peep before late December about anything. Not a peep. Okay, November 1st, this is really where his issue comes from, if it's a personal issue. He claims that he was lied to, manipulated, and tricked into meeting with Dan Cohen and Kim Ives. Danny, whatever issues you had, you could have told them. You could have told us. See, look, you need more context. Danny was feeding Kyle and the rest of the Midwestern Marks crew a lot of slop about Haiti and a lot of bullshit, basically. And they were believing it because he's their friend, and why wouldn't they believe it? And Kyle was there during the meeting and saw how all these other facts Danny was leaving out that Kim Ives and Dan were giving us. And Kyle actually got visibly pissed because he was just like, Danny, what the fuck is wrong with you? He was even getting more aggravated and pissed by the fact that Danny wasn't speaking up and standing on business and actually explaining himself or pushing back on anything Kim Ives and Dan Cohen were saying. So Kyle's there with his cigarette and he's just fucking very frustrated because he had been taken for a ride by Danny Shaw and his lies for a long time, okay? So that's the issue, all right? He was pissed. And I think Danny Shaw took that very personally. Also, he made the claim that we were talking about coordinating arms trafficking with sketchy foreign actors and oligarchs to paramilitary factions. If you're shocked by that, I'm shocked by it because I don't know where the fuck it comes from. I don't know where the fuck that comes from either, okay? So you tell me where that comes from. Dan was shocked when he read that. He reached out to me. I'm sure Kim Ives is shocked. We don't know what that is. I am broke. I make $5,000 a month if I'm lucky. These days, it's about 3 to 4. So I don't know how I have the resources to do what he's claiming I'm planning or whatever. I promise you I would sooner buy myself a yacht than go to Haiti and run around with weapons or whatever you say. Okay? If I had the resources at my disposal. They laughed at me and the PSL who are liberals and humanitarians like me and cared about the masses. So this is what the context was. He's about this stuff regarding the masses, okay? Every time we were trying to talk about what was going on in Haiti, Danny would be like, this is about the masses versus barbecue. And we would be like, Danny, what do you mean by the masses? The masses are not just some thing out there that just does things without any political mediation or without any mediation through leadership. So what do you mean the masses? He was like, the masses, man. And we were like, yeah, but who? Everyone. It's like, if it's, okay, what do you mean by everyone? So it turns out, this was why Kyle got pissed. He was referring to this collective in Haiti of these people that are like, I don't know, they call themselves Marxists or leftists or something. And he was referring to them. And he was claiming that was the Haitian masses. I'm just Molagef. Yeah, something like that. I'm picturing Kyle's face right now because Dan and Kim Ives told us how many people are in Molagef. The number was between 3 and 12. That was the Haitian masses. 3 to 12 people. Barbecue is this incredibly popular guy. He's getting all this support. He's gaining all this grassroots support. And the people Danny was talking about were 3 to 12 people who were marching for the police in Haiti and working with the police and collaborating with them. And effectively collaborating with U.S. imperialism. Kyle was shocked and got visibly frustrated when he heard that. Because we were under the impression that there was a movement there or something that was an alternative to barbecue that was going to resist the invasion or something, and that was what we were told. 3 to 12 people. Danny was humiliated and embarrassed when those facts were revealed. And what else can I say? Now, the problem with Danny, again, it's a constant recurring theme. Not only is he not standing on business in this meeting, he's not communicating anything to me or anyone else. He is just kind of pretending that he's fine. He's not criticizing me. He's not calling me and yelling at me. He's not doing anything. He's just plotting. At that moment, in that meeting, if he ever releases the meeting where he has his head down, you're going to see that at that moment he decided, he was like, man, fuck this. I'm gonna wreck this shit. Like, he got exposed as a liar, and at that was the precise moment that he decided that he's gonna plot on our downfall. That's what a petty, vindictive type of person that he is. Okay? So that's Danny Shaw, okay? And I could never take Danny Shaw seriously because every time we were with him in person, every single time, Danny Shaw is smiling and not talking a lot, and when he is talking, he's being very nice and friendly, and you would never know that this guy had a problem with me or anyone else. I had no idea this guy had a problem with me. Danny, look, he made a lot of other claims. I'm just telling you them in the order that I remember them. He claimed that while I was in Russia, I was lying about being shelled by HIMARS when I was in Donetsk. And the reason he's claiming this is because a journalist named something Sweeney, okay, who wasn't there, made the claim that, a strike wasn't reported. No, he's right. The strike was not actually reported to the media. Do the math, okay? There was a strike. It wasn't reported to the media. That's true. But it was 300 meters from our hotel, according to the people that we were with. That's how far away it was. And there were casualties. I implore everyone to not take my word for it. There is actually footage of the strike that's shared. I could even show it to you right now, maybe, if anyone wants to challenge that I'm telling the truth. And it shows me in the hotel during the first explosion, right? That was near our vicinity. So there was a strike 300 meters from our hotel. And another thing, besides the fact that we actually have footage of it, that I could say is that I don't need to spend a lot of time on this because John is in DD Geopolitics. There were 2 members of DD Geopolitics, one Serbian, one Slovenian, who were on our press tour in Donetsk and in Donbass. They were with me at that hotel, and they experienced the same thing that I did. They were also given the same information that I was. So, if you want to challenge the integrity of what I'm saying, please ask Mario and the other gentleman, it's Mario and Borut. Ask them if it was a lie or not, or if it happened or not. regarding the number of casualties, I think I said 6 were killed, 30 were wounded. That was a mistake on my part, okay? Because I was searching for public information to find the precise number of casualties because it wasn't known by the people there. And those were casualties from somewhere else the same day. But there were casualties. It's just that the number was not precise that I gave. But I wasn't lying about what happened, okay? Okay, so that's another strange claim that he made. I want to show you guys something, which is some of the footage from what happened in Donbass. So this is not the full footage, but this is just some of it. This is like very little of it, like the first few seconds. So this was the hotel we were staying at. I mean, I know you guys believe me, but here's literal proof, okay? So...
What's this?
So that I'm literally right here with the coffee. I don't know if you can hear the first explosion. This was right after the first explosion. It was like a little shaky.
What?
So we didn't do anything then, right? Only after the next few explosions did we start to run to the back, which was not captured because literally, yeah. Hold on, wait, let me see. Yeah, there. See, you hear that? That was the second one. You see that? So he said I made all of that up. He said I was lying about that. Here we are in the aftermath talking about what happened. This woman was great. Her name is Batul. She's viral. She actually, in this video, I think, calls me by my real name. But I told her, yo, you got to delete it, whatever. But she had no bad intentions. It was just an accident. So we were all talking about it in the aftermath after. I think you'll see me.
We are arguing about what happened.
No, we were on the lobby, so we went to the basement.
This will be actually clear for us. What about this situation?
It's messed up, man. Yeah, I mean, there it is, all right? So, you know, he's saying I made that up. Well, there's proof that I wasn't making it up, okay? Just to further discredit this Danny Shaw, let me show you something interesting. I think we share the shrapnel from the HIMARS on camera. I remember we did that. This is a planet. It's not working for most of them. It's not working even, increasingly not working even for the core itself, not just the periphery and the third, for something. It's just going on and on, consuming and living meaninglessly, and then if you die, it just happens. Thank you.
Like it's a struggle.
In a way that's
it's
organized.
a struggle in America. Yeah.
Bitter. The shrapnel was on the table, and I'm pretty sure we shared it to the camera somewhere in here. Hey, for politicians,
so
for people in the party.
So you want to say in my podcast, Haz, Aldin,
This
imposing their so-called democracy through bombings.
not enough.
Leftists.
I
want it's Americans who provided
pleasure.
others.
The thing that is half season that we want to.
Yeah.
So, all right, we don't show it to the. I think the part got edited out where it's being shown to the camera. But let me see. Am I holding it right here? It's a small piece of shrapnel. I mean, I guess it means nothing if you lack the context. Any of it. You could just say it's a rock, right? But it's there. It's like 33 minutes in. It's not very big. I think he might have edited that out. I don't know. Because we were talking about it, and I think I said something very dark, maybe. I was like, we are entering an era where this is becoming normal, and it was very dark and pessimistic. Maybe it was no good. I don't know. I'll ask. But there was a piece of shrapnel we had from the strike 300 meters away. So let's see. He has 3 articles. Let's just go through it. You know, he He calls me a fraud, a coward, a liar, a sadist, a loose cannon, a narcissist. Based on what? Kind of just sounds like your opinion, dude. He has used us all to try to make more money and to get more clicks and clout. I have made, people have donated to this stream alone way more than on average. So you have actually done that, all right? I've actually been losing a lot of money because of my work in the party, believe it or not. I've been struggling financially, believe it or not. Okay, so that's just total nonsense. He's completely adverse to working with others into membership. I think that's what he means. I am the chairman of the executive board of the American Communist Party. I am talking to the executive board every hour minimum of every fucking day that I'm awake. Okay, to say this is baffling. All right, I'm not working that closely with him. He's not even my deputy. By the way, if you need to understand how our party's structured, thank you, Yellowstone. It's all in our constitution, which apparently doesn't matter anymore because they disagreed with how it was drafted, and yet they raised no concerns or issues about how it was drafted, like at the time of, at all. But in any case, I've just been doing my job as enumerated within the Constitution, all right? Which is to work very closely with the executive board and my deputies. Danny Shaw was not my deputy, all right? He was a deputy, I believe, of Chris and not me, okay? That's why I wasn't working very closely with him, except on matters that actually were relevant, like the Haiti thing, you know, where there was a contention that we had to discuss. And by the way, look, I am not somebody who just like makes decisions and says, screw you, you know, all that often. I am somebody who tries to make sure we're all on the same page. So I sensed there was tension about the Haiti thing. By the way, the Haiti thing, if you don't know, has nothing to do with arms smuggling, but a dispute about the facts of what's going on the ground that was between Danny and Dan Cohen and Kim Ives. And me, for that matter, because I was more convinced by them than Danny. And if you ever watched that meeting we had, you would understand exactly why. Yeah, look, I don't know what to say when it comes to this nonsense about I'm not a team player or whatever. It's just complete nonsense, all right? I have to work very closely with 7 other people every minute of every fucking day, all right? It's just nonsense. And look, when I was talking about the financial issues or whatever, look, I'm not telling you this because I'm asking you guys to throw all your money at me. I'm just telling you that to show you how ridiculous the claim that I'm in this for money actually is. It's completely ridiculous. If I was in this for money, why am I losing money and struggling financially? You know? It's complete nonsense. So so October 11th, he claimed that I was sat on a throne where the two were elevated high above them. I don't even know if I look stupid by responding to that. The reason Darg is laughing in the chat because he was there was no throne. There was a living room. I don't even know if I was sitting on a single chair. I think I was sitting on a couch. I don't remember. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what this throne was. It was an AirBNB living room, okay, where we had the TV in front of us and we were working on the Constitution. Well, I'll get to that in John's, by the way, when I address John. They were the only 2 invited to speak. I don't know what he's talking about. There were plenty of us there. They bragged about their contacts with oligarchs in Russia. Again, I don't know what the point of making up these lies is, except trying to create the public pretext for a federal investigation. Nobody was talking about any fucking oligarchs, okay? We were talking about comrades we have in Russia and how cool they are, but I don't know why, okay? I don't even need to address this because if you had such a fucking problem with it, you should have opened your damn mouth. Danny Shaw, who's a full foot taller than I am, who's 6'8", you should have said something instead of acting like a coward. You shut your mouth and you were completely silent the entire time. You didn't even raise a peep. You didn't even raise a muttering, a semblance of a concern that you didn't like that I was sitting on a grand throne. I don't even know where you're getting that from, but even if it was true, I don't know like where that's coming from. I don't know why you didn't say anything then. He claims, I raised every objection. He raised every objection. He didn't say anything. He was whispering into the mic. What do you mean you raised every objection? I'm going to try to stay calm, all right? He says I have zero experience as a leader. That's not wrong. As a leader of a party, I have zero experience. I'm not denying that. I am just trying to do my best in terms of following the rules and following the Constitution and the powers enumerated within that Constitution to me. I'm not claiming I'm a great leader and I'm perfect and I know I have all this experience. I'm 28 years old. He's right, but we need to be precise with critiques. If you want to make a critique of me, make it concrete. Don't make these vague generalizations about, oh, he's a cult leader, he's this or he's that. Back that up with something specific. And it's a common theme you're going to get throughout this entire stream where I explain to you what happened, that they don't do that, all right? They weren't doing that at all. Not only like in the months in the lead up, but beginning, I think this all started in late December. They weren't being upfront about anything. They kept making claims about me. Haz needs to resign. We need to throw the Constitution away. The Constitution is garbage. It doesn't matter. We need to throw it away. Haz needs to be overthrown. We need to get rid of Haz. Sure, but like why? And every time they were called upon, well, because he needs to be held accountable because he's a cult leader. Okay, why is he a cult leader? Why does he need to be held accountable? Well. And as soon as you would ask them, they'd be like, ugh, and then they would say nothing, and then they would plot behind the scenes about how they're gonna dox me and try to traffic huge volumes of negative attention toward the party in public and quit. Your best guess is as good as mine. All right. Again, we're gonna get to John as soon as we finish with talking about Danny and responding to him and his various claims. Okay. What would people think of? Yeah, look, Danny. So I'm just gonna be full disclosure with you guys. At the party, we have a culture among leadership where we tell jokes with no political correctness in private. And very politically incorrect. And that is part of our comradeship, and it's humor, and all communists throughout all history did the same thing. And Danny, whenever he was present and privy to this, he would laugh along and tell jokes himself and participate. And, so I don't know, all these things he's claiming that are these, you're all this being mean to all these people, all these different groups. He was right there with us, so I don't know what his issue is. He should have spoken up and talked about how offended he was. Then and there, I don't know what to tell you, all right? All right, November 13th, I texted the Politburo telegram saying that I had to take a big shit and that I would be 20 minutes late. And I was asking people to start 20 minutes late. That is true. One of the only legitimate criticism, I'm not going to say one of, the only legitimate criticism both John and Danny will be able to make, which I actually conceded to in our actual criticism session that we had prior to the meeting. Rocks off, thank you. Prior to the meeting where, I yelled at John because John decided to surprise us with another. Again, you're going to get the full context on that. But prior to that, about 5 days before, we did have the struggle session they wanted us to have. And I conceded to that criticism. It was one of the only real criticisms they were able to make, which is that oftentimes I was late to Politburo meetings. And that is true. And I said, you're right, I should improve on that and strive not to be. Now, in my defense, I am constantly in communication at meetings, talking to the executive board. The weekly meetings with the Politburo, who are deputies of the executive board, are very important, but they're not always front and center of my attention because I'll think that the day of, I handled a bunch of business with the executive board already, and, whatever, I'm done. And then I'll realize, oh no, we have this meeting at 7 with the Politburo. So that's true. I should be completely never late and always present for those. And I actually agreed with that. And I haven't been late to a meeting since. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks. But that was the only real criticism they could make, actually. The rest were so vague and imprecise, and it lacked concreteness. He canceled and he postponed. He was testing us all. He claimed that I was afraid to put him in lead. Danny, I don't even know who you are. You were brought in. I'm not saying this to say that Midwestern Marks made a poor judgment, because I think they would have had no way of knowing. I never knew who you were, dude. They did. They thought you were suited to the task. I agreed with it. I had no pushback, and you betrayed all of our trust. He's talking about December 21st. I was in Russia. I'm pretty sure I was in Donbass or on my way back from Donbass, so I have no idea what he's talking about. So here he makes the accusation that I was lying. He's making strange accusations about things I said. I don't know what he's talking about. He's claiming that people called him and said that they don't know if I was drunk or bipolar. I don't know. Okay. All right, now he decides to address me directly. You are a dark, isolated, antisocial individual who doesn't know how to work with others or see them as equals. Depending on your own conduct, depending on how quickly you shut down this racist, homophobic, anti-women, anti-American people fiasco, you'll be hearing a lot more. Okay. Well, we're not going to shut down the party, so bombs away, Danny. I literally don't give a shit. Bombs away. Bombs away, dude. I don't give a fuck. Look at how scared I am. Don't give a shit. You think you can blackmail us and threaten us? You can't, okay? By the way, Danny, don't throw stones in glass houses. Just saying. Don't throw stones in glass houses. Because there's a lot of things you've done that you aren't being honest about. Such as the driveway incident. Remember that, Danny? The driveway incident? Remember that? Do we want to talk about that, Danny? The driveway incident, if you don't know what it is basically... because I'm not like Danny Shaw, and I don't want to make like vague insinuations about something so horrible. Danny Shaw, one of the nights in the Dearborn conference, was being very disrespectful to the AirBNB owners because he pulled up in the driveway while engaging in certain, acts with a PSL woman in the driveway in his car in front of everyone. Shocking everyone and offending everyone's sensibilities. That's what happened, all right? We can go, I'm not going to go into more detail, but that's really it. People were very upset and pissed off. We did not discipline him over it. Maybe the Midwestern Marks guys, I think they gave him a stern talking to, but when I heard about it, I was just like, oh, I mean, it's kind of fucked up, but I mean, why should the party care about that, right? But I'm just saying, he wants to make shit so personal. Like, Danny, that's not even everything, by the way. That's not even everything when it comes to Danny, all right? For somebody that's like grandstanding so much and making all these personal attacks on me, you get your own fucking house in order, all right? That goes for John as well. I don't want to talk about anything personal, and I won't until they do, but don't fucking throw stones in glass houses, all right? You guys aren't perfect by any means. I'm not perfect, but neither are you. So don't throw stones in glass houses, all right? To the infrareds, busy doxing people, being terminally online talking shit is not revolution. Run it back. Danny's saying, doxing people and talking shit online isn't revolution. Huh. What is Danny Shaw doing right now? Last thing I want was to be a whistle. Yeah, you're just like Snowden, dude. You're just like Snowden. Because you leaked a clip of me telling John what I thought about what he was doing. Which I don't regret, by the way. And I fully stand by everything I said. And you'll understand that when I get to John. And I get to that portion of this response. Everyone remembers the violent Black Hammer cult, which is now in motion when the EB tells us not to talk to anyone below our rank. Yeah, because Xi Jinping is so famous for sharing all of his talks with the Standing Committee to literally the entire public. You're right. And that's true that's how communist parties work. You just don't have any privacy when it comes to discussions within leadership. You're right. If you do, it's a cult. I've bastardized everything. I'm the worst guy ever. It's a fascist cult. Well, you were here, Danny. You were there for the majority of it. And only now you opened your mouth. Whereas before, if you're gonna lie and say I'm running guns to Haiti, why not lie and be like, oh, when one guy decided to speak up, Haz came and grabbed a baseball bat and broke his knees. So I was coerced, I was intimidated. But it's like you have no way of justifying why the fuck you didn't open your mouth before. There's no precedent of us shutting down criticism. Again, the clip he shared of the meeting that we had that was unrelated to the topic of criticism with John was after weeks of struggling to understand John's feelings. And what is your problem? Dude, tell us what your issue is. He's not telling anyone. He's being very vague. He's being very weird. He's just saying, everyone, Haz needs to resign. Why? No, he's not talking to us. And I came back from Russia. He started it right when I came back. One day after, the night I came back, the day of, the Friday, we had an entire meeting. We spent hours struggling through all of the criticisms John had. All right? And then everything was fine. And John wasn't happy because I wasn't cooed, I guess. But we had tried so hard to get to the bottom of what the issue was. They weren't being forthright. And I didn't even see my family for over a month because I had to fucking listen to the bitching and whining of John and Danny. It's true. I didn't even see my family for an entire month. I was in Russia. It was 300 meters away from a HIMARS strike. I didn't even see my family, who was very worried about me and wanted to, see me, and I couldn't. I had to take the whole day to do this because of their crybaby shit. That they weren't even being like, okay, I was late to some of the meetings. That's fair. But you could have just told me how much it's like eating away at you personally. But you made me take out an entire day to address your feelings and talk to you, So at the next meeting, by the way, that we were united, we're settled, it's over, business is conducted. John was silent for days. Nobody knows how he was feeling. He wasn't telling anyone. John decided to basically start the meeting off where we had pressing business to attend to with this theatrical performance reciting this document he spent all these days typing out without notice. And I basically shut it down. I was like, John, this isn't the place for that. You have to give us notice. If you want to have a meeting about your resignation or discussing it, you have to give us notice. We're not here for that. You're wasting all of our time. Okay? That's why I was so angry and dismissive of his criticism. It wasn't because we don't tolerate criticism. It's because he decided to share this theatrical resignation at a meeting where we had pressing business to attend to, unrelated to any of that, without notice. Just like Friday's meeting, where we had to have been given notice that we're going to listen to their Crybaby Bitch Festival, they have to do the same and tell us that you want time set aside to have this discussion. But none of us were prepared for that. We weren't, okay? We all are busy, we all have things to do, and we were not prepared to spend several hours addressing John's feelings and listening to his feelings when we had fucking pressing business to attend to. I will organize in the courts and in the streets until you take go do it. Go fucking do it, all right? All right, that's the first article. Now, this is the one that he actually shared this with us internally. The 2nd of January, although he said the title of it originally was the f***s on the executive board, but he changed the title. But that was the original title by Danny Shaw. Very brave of him to say. Again, he wouldn't say it to our face. He wouldn't say anything to our face, but he made this the title of the Google Doc. He shared this with us on January 2nd. I responded to it in full at our meeting. But I guess you want to hear me respond to it here as well. Okay, so here we go. Unchecked testosterone and LARPing. Real Marxism is suppressed. Fuck. Be precise. How? Nothing. The online, it's just a boomer complaining about the internet. Go fucking cry about it, dude. He's not making any specific or particular criticisms of any particular things. He's just kind of making these boomer generalizations. What can I say? Liberalism and fear. Haz, if he's so compelled, can cancel or postpone any meeting. I listened to concerns by people in the Politburo, and they were kind of saying, no, you should understand we have schedules, and I found that to be fair. But then he he issues holy commands, and then he says, okay, I'm out, I don't need to be here for anything else. I asked, do I need to be here for anything else? And people would say no, so I'd leave, because I have shit to do. What do you want me to say? He cuts people off and pretends to know everything. He's not a people person, because okay, it's my fiefdom. Okay, so he's saying, I was going to request an extended meeting from the Politburo. We can freely air out our resentments. And then Haz, sensing the walls are closing in around him, talks about harmful... Okay, I'm going to explain to you exactly what happened there. A day before I was... No, not a day before. While I was on the airport coming back home from Russia, I started hearing a lot about drama going on in the Politburo. Specifically centered around Danny and John themselves, to be frank. And I kept hearing people talk about how there's all these grievances and all these issues and problems that they're having. And I'm starting to get confused because I'm like, why aren't you fucking telling me about them? Or just being, or sharing those in the chat where I could see them, where we could all see them. There was a lot of gossiping and back channeling that was going on. And I noticed that. And so I wanted to have that meeting so I could say, guys, stop gossiping and just be open about whatever issues you have. Because I don't know what you're gossiping about. I can't read your minds. I don't know what issues you have or don't have. How could I know? I don't know, So that was the harmful tendencies I was talking about. It turns out there was this methodical plotting and planning that had been going on this entire time, where basically Danny and John seemed like they were trying to build consensus for a coup or something. I don't know. What they didn't think through properly was, how are they going to justify to the rest of the Politburo why they believe throwing the Constitution away is justified? How can it be justified? You yourself voted to ratify that Constitution. I want to reiterate that, all right? So, long story short, the long story is that they tried for weeks to rally the entire leadership against me. It failed, so they're doing this. Which we saw coming, by the way. Nobody else agreed with them in the Politburo. People did agree with some valid criticisms, such as me being late to some meetings. I myself agreed with that criticism. But in terms of the serious, issues that seem to be so personal and strange in nature, nobody else shared their sentiments. They were not successful in convincing everyone else of their view. The cruelty of chief LARPers. Get offline and go offline. Stop worrying about the internet and social media. Again, it's a boomer who just doesn't understand the era we live in. Who is not open to listening to a rational explanation about why social media is important, why the internet is so important. Again, the reason I'm just kind of tired at this point is because it's like, I've tried so hard to exhaust reason, and they don't get their way, and then it's like they just start calling you names. No, you're a fraud! Okay, what do you want me to fucking say? You're not even engaged. You're not even talking to me, okay? You're not even speaking to me anymore. You can say what you want. I tell you my response, but you don't respond to my response. You just start crying and calling me names. What do you want me to fucking do? I'm not your mom. I'm not your dad. You're not my infant baby, and I'm supposed to intuit your feelings and whatever. You need to articulate yourself rationally and logically, or else I'm not going to be able to understand what your issue precisely is, okay? He was upset that he couldn't articulate his feelings, I guess. I don't know. ACP's baptism by fire. The EB fashions itself above the rank and file. I don't know what you mean by that, but if you mean that we are on the hierarchy and the chain of command above the rank and file, we are, because that's literally the structure of our party outlined in the Constitution. We are the executive decision-making power within the party. I am the chairman of that board that makes the decisions in the last instance, all right? Don't know what you want to say. We have a procedure of democratic centralism that is being fleshed out. It is fleshed out. It's being built. The plan is being implemented for a spring central committee, and then in a year or two, we're going to have our national congress where people can get rid of the executive board if they want, you know? But that's how it's set up. Russian agents. I was in Russia to deepen our party's relations with our comrades in Russia. No monetary transactions were happening. No gun running was happening. That was literally it. And I had to do that, and it was necessary for me to do that. And I didn't know about all the I didn't know that in New Jersey there was going to be fucking UFOs or whatever. Okay, I was experiencing that while I was already there. He's talking about Mao. Look, go form your own party, dude. That's why I don't take this personally, because whatever party this would happen, whatever party exists that shows any kind of promise, the same thing would happen to it, because it's what has happened in the past. Even the fucking PSL gets called a cult. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's very easy to shit on us and attack us. It's really hard to actually prove in practice that you can actually establish an alternative to our party. Do that practically. See if you can get anything fucking done offline like you say you want to. Instead of throwing dirt on our name 24/7, go prove in practice. Go prove in practice that there can be a party better than ours. Prove that in practice, all right? I don't know what to tell you. You're talking a lot, you're not walking a lot. He's upset about potential salaries for people like Kyle or Noah, I don't know. Well, this is a full-time job, especially what Kyle does. I don't know what you're complaining about. He goes, if you, Haz, respond the only way you know how, my diagnosis will be confirmed you're a narcissist. Here we get into the psychobabble. If I don't do what he says, then he gets to wreck the party and whatever. I mean, fuck, you know? What can I say? Even I don't act that way. Like, do I, as chairman of the party, tell people, hey, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to fucking dox you, and I'm going to embarrass the party publicly and attack you in public in front of the gorillas and everything? Have I ever done that? I don't. Okay? I'm the chairman, and I don't have the right to do that, according to our Constitution. But he's in the Politburo, and he has the right to exercise unilateral dictatorial. Do what I want, or else. That's literally what he was saying in that document. I responded to it during that meeting. He didn't get his way. He acquiesced. He was silent. By the end of the meeting, Danny was going, comrades, let's go forward united. At the end of that meeting, where he had the opportunity to stand on all of his business that I just read to you, by the end of it, he goes, all right, comrades, we worked through it. Let's go forward. The Haz al-Din cult through the lens of traumatizing narcissism. Am I the only one who... I skimmed through this, but I didn't find many factual accusations being made. I did read a lot of psychobabble. He's upset about the DSA thing. Should have said something then and there. Inside the... Beck describes motivated reasoning. Okay, this is just... I don't even have the fucking energy for this shit, alright? Like, it's just psychobabble. Make a fucking accusation, okay? Jim Jones was out here raping people, all right? He was out here beating people. He was out here, like, doing some bad shit. What have I fucking done to anyone in the party besides call John a bad word, which he deserved, by the way, and took a shit 20 minutes into a meeting? What a horrible cult leader, right? Like, what are the fucking crimes I'm actually being accused of that corroborates or validates any of this? Instead of wasting my time wallowing through this gibberish about, my crime is that sometimes, I call people mean name if I am upset with them. I don't do that often, by the way. And in John's case, I did that one time. Precisely one time. You need to fucking... we're going to get into John, but you need to understand when it comes to John. holy fuck, he's like a baby, and I was like babying him for like over a week. John, come on, man. Like, you can talk to me. John, I still appreciate you a lot. You're great. He's our fucking lawyer, you know? You think I want to piss off the lawyer? No. We needed him, frankly. Not anymore, but at the time, yeah. And like, he really just tested my patience. He just kept coming after me constantly. Finally bringing it up in a random meeting a week or 4 or 5 days after he had the opportunity to air out whatever he wanted to. He pushed me to my limit. You're right. I fucking blew up at him. Because holy shit, it's like you have such a personal, at this point, it was clear to everyone. His problem with me was pathological and personal, and it was a big mystery to all of us. But now I have a pretty good idea of where it was coming from and what it was all about. And that's what I'm going to get into now. Danny Shaw, what a ridiculous character. What a ridiculous person. I don't take this guy seriously. But he has made many legally actionable claims, which he's right about one thing. He's going to have to fight in the courts because he's done a lot of illegal things. Leaking confidential without our consent or knowledge, recording us without our knowledge. You'd think that John would be working more closely with Danny Shaw, coordinating, making sure that they legally have everything covered, but he recorded us without our consent and shared it publicly without our consent. He's committed many crimes just for that alone. He's made actionable, libelous claims that I'm running guns or whatever. Danny Shaw, you better prepare. You said you're going to be fighting in court. You will be, I promise. Okay? Go ahead and say whatever you like. They said you partied with oligarchs in Russia. Which oligarch? Who? How? What party? What party in Russia? What oligarch? What are you talking about? You know how they don't make specific claims? He claims you threatened party members with violence. But what is he talking about? What is he referring to? Again, you need to be suspicious. If there's no specific claim being made, there's probably a huge likelihood that he's just making it up. If I've threatened people with violence, there would have been violence. There's no violence. There's nothing. Nothing happened. You guys need to put in perspective that what happened was that I took a shit for 20 minutes and that Danny was exposed for being a liar about Haiti and that I called John a but that's honestly the only thing he said. That's why I woke up today and I saw this shit and I just was like, I know I'm in deep shit and I should really be paranoid and I should be really panicking and whatever. But I'm like, I don't even know how I'm supposed to react to this. I was surprised they doxed me, but I don't really see the substance. Like, is this it? Or is there a really bad thing they're saving? Because just fucking get to the point, you know? Because I am not impressed with this. Like, put it into perspective, guys. 2 people left and left in a really dramatic way. If half of our chapters seceded, I'd be panicking, all right? If something happened that actually like damaged our party severely happened, I'd be really panicking. But I don't know what happened. See, it's so funny these guys think I'm scared of the public. I'm not scared of the public, all right? I just don't want to waste the public's time. That's all. I don't want the public's time to be wasted and distracted. See, for example, I would have just preferred that like we stay the course, we get the work done, we do what we got to do. And we don't talk about any of this drama, this nonsense, but we have to talk about it. Fine, let's talk about all of it then. That's fine. Again, at the end of the fucking day, if these people think that I'm scared of the public about anything, I'm not. There's nothing I am scared to talk about, okay? It's just, do I want to waste the public's time? Do I want to waste my party's time talking about nonsense? No, I'd rather us just stay focused on what needs to be done, okay? Can you address what he said about those who may be on the left from isolating those who may be on the left from uniting with us? Your best guess is as good as mine. I think he's talking about the PSL and whatever, because we do internally discuss at length how we do want to be distinct. And he was always kind of saying, no, the PSL are fine. I guess he wanted us to unite with PSL and DSA. Beats me. I don't know, because he never told me a fucking thing about how he felt. So I have no idea. I'm just guessing just like you are, okay? I just find one thing a little bit funny, which is that Danny is a full, he's about 6'8", so he is a full foot taller than me. He is also, I think, in his 40s, so he's nearly twice my age. And he's trying to paint himself as a victim of grooming, that I somehow groomed him and psychologically got in his head and compelled him and whatever, and I groomed him, and he's a victim of me as a cult leader. And I don't understand this because I have barely spoken to Danny Shaw. The majority of our long conversations were about Haiti. I've never really talked to him in any personal capacity. Others did and knew him better than I did. Danny Shaw was never really someone... I mean, how could I... First of all, see, people are laughing because they were there at the convention. They know how big this guy is, and it's just kind of fucking stupid, all right? But yeah, he's claiming that I, groomed him and I brainwashed him psychologically, and the reason he's doing that is he's trying to cover his ass and explain to the public why he was with us this entire time and there was no issue, but suddenly, on the flip of a switch, he decided to turn and do this. And he needs to explain that actually the reason is because Adam Tahir, or whatever they're calling me these days, groomed him and brainwashed him and he's using this incredibly psychological language. It's incredibly just so intimate, just so much psychobabble, so many generalizations, so little concrete particular facts and details. There's a reason for that, because he's full of shit. Anytime somebody's just making psychological generalizations but not actually backing them up with anything, it's because they have been cornered, they have nothing, and they're coping, basically, about their own inability to actually be an adult and stand on business. And if you have a problem, just fucking communicate it. He wouldn't do that. That's just on his character, which I could not take seriously because of that. Just that alone, all right? All right, there's also some other interesting accusations he makes toward me. Danny is pretending that because he came to the Dearborn conference, that he knows about my personal life, and that he knows my name, that he knows my personal life, and all these things. He claimed that I lived on the second floor of my parents' home. Now, Danny has never been to where I live. He's never been to my house, by the way. I don't live with my parents, but he doesn't know anything about where I live or anything like that. Why did he make this claim? I want you guys to infer, why did he make this claim? Is it possibly because he's trying to threaten my family? Because if I did live with my family, which I don't, by the way, anyone who would want to come after me would just go after them. So why would he make that up, that I live on the second floor of my parents' home? What was the point of that? Well, the point is because he's trying to target my family. By the way, what's the point of even talking about my name, if not to target my family? I have nothing to be ashamed of, but my name is incredibly common, by the way. But look, I struggle to take it personally. The reason I struggle to take it personally is because I'm not convinced Danny Shaw is acting alone. I'm not convinced that Danny Shaw is doing this because on a personal level, I think he's being compelled to do it, and it goes much deeper, okay? And with respect to Danny Shaw, there's only so much speculation we can engage in. When we start talking about John, I think we'll have a clearer picture about maybe what's going on. But with respect to Danny Shaw, the extent of wherever he's coming from, we can only speculate, but I am inclined to believe for a number of reasons. Because of how sudden it was and how irrational it is, and, the doxxing and all this kind of, these crazy claims he's making about running guns, I'm inclined to believe that Danny's not acting in a personal capacity and that he is being potentially compelled to do this. So, Arkansas, Danny messaged me before the meeting to curry favor. Yeah, look, Danny, this is something I left out, but I'll mention, because there's so many things I'm taking for granted. I'm sure I'm skipped through a lot of things. Danny and John reached out to everyone individually on a one-on-one basis. He messaged everyone, basically saying, we're about to do a coup in the Senate. Do I have your support? Literally, that's what they were saying. Like not ad verbatim, but that was the gift of it. They were like reaching out to all the senators, like, do I have your support for a coup in the Senate? They reached out to everyone but me. Okay, they reached out to the other executive board, Eddie and them. They were having none of it. They reached out to Grayson, and Grayson said, look, say what you're saying in public, right? Danny is very Machiavellian. Bro, Danny was sending these messages to Darg. Danny was like, it was so weird. It was like these voice messages he would send to Darg. Darg shared them with me. He was like, you know, comrade, I don't really know how I feel about him calling John. You know, that he was like whispering for some fucking reason. It was literally like a movie where it's like he's like behind the corner in the Coliseum with the other set. You know, I don't know. Are we gonna do? He's like, bro, Danny is this like 6'8" giant, but he is surprisingly very sneaky and Machiavellian. You'd think I would respect him if he was like the violent type who just no, and he's just like beating people up and shit. But he's like a bitch. He's like bitch made. He's like a sneaky. He's like Varys from Game of Thrones. He's like the master of whisperers. The least person you would expect of being such a conniving, conspiratorial, Machiavellian guy, but he is. Danny Shaw said more would be coming in the days. Touche, you know? We will respond proportionately. I don't know what else could come. Probably more tall tales and lies. We'll respond proportionately. I mean, whatever. You know, I hope he releases the information about me smuggling guns or whatever. I feel like that would be I feel like he has a responsibility to do that now because he made the accusation. He claimed we're banned from New York. I may go to New York next month, so we'll see, Danny. Also, Danny, why is Danny calling Jackson anti-Semitic when he made that fucking famous Instagram post, which we got flack for, where he like, I don't know, he curses the Jews, or I don't fucking know what he does in there, but he made a very fun, very interesting Instagram post, which we got flack for. So, it's funny. We're the anti-Semites, right? It's so stupid. It's like when Trotsky worked with the Nazis, and then the Trotskyist called Stalin an anti-Semite. Right? It's just kind of strange. Can you address the door being unlocked? What are you talking about? What is that? Can you... Sorry if I haven't been meticulously at the AirBNB. We might have accidentally left a door unlocked. Maybe we did, and it was a mistake we made, but what's the point? Like, what? Should we be crucified for making a fucking mistake because we're human? Clarifying why. Because we didn't all know the code. That's why. Danny's criticism of Carlos for not putting in any work for member education and just teaching Marxism classes on the side. That is not true. Carlos has compiled the lists, the reading lists for the membership, and he has done a lot of work when it came to the journal, and he's not even finished. Midwestern Marxism has always taught Marxism classes. I think that he's doing a class right now, actually. John, the very serious guy, John Mollera. John Mollera, I'm forced to do this because, well, I'm not loyal to the party. Just like Bree, by the way. I'm loyal to the people. I'm loyal to the people. What do you mean by that, John? Well, I'm loyal to my idea of the people. Oh, so you're loyal to yourself. Got it. That's exactly what you mean. Same with Bree. Bree goes, I'm not loyal to a party. I'm loyal to the masses. What do you mean? I mean, like, my sense of what the masses are. Okay, so you're loyal to yourself. That's fine. Just say that. Again, if it's not our party, it would be any party. That's a constant theme you need to take away from this. If it wasn't our party, it would be any party. Any party, you have to deal with the problem that you're not always going to get your way, that there is going to be a fucking leader, okay? Shocker, party needs leadership. There's going to be a leader, and if it's a strong party, that leader is going to be very popular and loved by the rank and file. If it's a strong party, and you're gonna have these problems in any party. Okay, that's especially a successful party, one that's as successful as ours. So I'm not even taking it personally. I'm just interested to know what a real communist party is if ours isn't that. Go and show us by practice what a real one looks like. It's constantly what I'm going to constantly say. If it's not our party, it would be any party. And this is the same story. I mean, look, guys, this has happened to so many stupid little organizations before. We are not a stupid little organization. And that's why 2 people leaving is not going to destroy the ACP, okay? I think some of our enemies were expecting like an implosion over this. Yeah, if we were a stupid small sect, this would be the type of thing that destroys us. But in reality, we are a party with strong structural integrity, which can afford a few individualistic, wreckers leaving. We can afford, trust me, we can afford, you may not want to hear this, guys, but we can afford Bree leaving, and we can afford Danny leaving, and we can even afford John leaving. Sorry, like, what do you think? Everything's gonna blow up because of this? Is that what you thought? Is that what you thought? Even if I was sitting in fucking jail right now, because somehow I was actually guilty of the things Danny says, that I'm smuggling guns to Haiti, the rank and file of the American Communist Party, day in and day out, would be outside the county jail that I'm being held, or the prison I'm being held, protesting for my release, doing everything in their power to raise awareness to release me. John is a level of seriousness above Danny because he's a lawyer, and he's someone I took much more serious. So actually, John's treachery was actually, if I took anything personally, over the past 3 weeks, it was John's treachery, which shocked me, took me by surprise, and that was really hard, because I saw John as a comrade, a person I took seriously. I had a very good impression of him. Part 2, John Mollera. Let me tell you about John Mollera, our heroic attorney for the American Communist Party. We were all sketched out by John a little, because he came out of nowhere. But we did a background check, and we were convinced that John is not a Fed. We don't know if he's a Fed. I don't think he is. I don't know. But I think something happened. And I'll tell you exactly what happened. I will tell you what I know. And I will give you a full disclosure about why John's doing this and what... All right. Now, the explanation he's giving is along the lines of, I didn't like how the Constitution or the Convention went down. Haz did he was the worst. Yeah. These are all things you could have brought up to me or anyone else before. I didn't get a fucking word that this guy was so upset by this. So I don't buy that. See, the problem with John consistently is all the explanations he's been giving don't add up. That's why it was very frustrating. So I'm gonna from the top, I'm gonna give you the entire story with John. There are details I'm gonna leave out as a last act of mercy on him. I am prepared to reveal those details in proportion with him engaging in any further doxing. So, but all relevant information for now I'm gonna share with you. Okay. So John came, and he was a licensed attorney. And he was not at the plenary committee at the founding of our party, where the Constitution's structure and the goals were actually decided. Okay? I don't even need to address this because it's a complete distraction. But if John had such an issue with the Constitution, he should understand 2 things. 1, it was the responsibility of the executive board to decide what the Constitution should be drafted, the draft, right? He was being tasked with laying a skeletal structure, just for the sake of formality. not to be given discretionary power to decide the constitution of the party, but to basically, he knew this, to give us a form and structure that we could revise and modulate whatever as we, to conform to what we had agreed on at the plenary committee meeting in Chicago. So he knew that. He was upset with the adjustments that were made, but he said nothing. He didn't raise any concerns the night of or after. John claims that he had all these issues with the Constitution, but he never raised any issues. Not only that, he voted to ratify the Constitution at the convention. Now, I want to give you guys some clarity on how the ratification worked. We had plans in case there was a majority vote or a huge contentious split over the Constitution. And we wanted to give room for criticism, for people to raise objections and whatever at the convention itself. John, Bree, and Danny all read the Constitution and all voted yay. The vote was unanimous at the convention for the ratification of that Constitution. So the time to cry about the unfairness of the Constitution was then, even if you felt you couldn't raise your voice and object to it, for whatever mysterious reason. You should have been transparent with us that you weren't planning on actually, following honorably the pledge and vow you made to actually follow the rules and procedures of the party you agreed to ratify in your acting capacity as a member of our legal department. Or in the case of Bree, as a chapter executive. So they have no sense of discipline. I'm not claiming here that the Constitution is perfect. Although I will stand on it, it's the best Constitution it can be. But it's irrelevant because they made the decision to ride with that Constitution, to agree with it. They voted in favor of it. They changed their mind later, that's fine, but that's on you. That's not on us. That's on you. You take responsibility that you fucked up and you made a misjudgment and leave and get the fuck out of our faces. But he feels like he has the right to cause... You know it's so petty and vindictive for him because it's like, I have to dox him too. I have to dox him. Okay. That's how you know it's like nothing. Why did you dox me? If your reasoning adds up, why do you need to dox me? Well, because he's literally just trying to destroy me at this point, and I am a little bit amused because. Sorry, John, it's going to be a lot harder. Look, I'm a little insulted because Danny and John, did you think we never thought this could happen? Like, we never ran through our head this scenario and have some kind of plan for it? Give us a little more credit that we've thought this through, right? Anyway, look, John didn't say a word about any issues with the Constitution. He got to the work of acting as our licensed attorney for the party. Successfully, he agreed with what we were doing, which is defending the party from libelous claims, all of which were bearing fruit successfully. He agreed. I would check in with John every so often. He is in the legal department, and he would contact me, giving me updates, and everything was going very swimmingly and smoothly. Now, I want to talk about something that's bugging me. And it's been bugging me for weeks since I started thinking about it, okay? And I'm going to share it with you and let you guys come up with your own judgment. Full disclosure, John was doxxed by our enemies, who started to psychologically torture him by sharing photos of him at his house, like running outside or whatever, right? They were really going after him, by the way. John, they were really going hard. More than me, more than anyone else. They were really, really picking on him. They doxed him multiple times. They were sharing photos of him, of like, he went outside running yesterday or something. They shared a photo of that. They were getting in his head psychologically, okay? He was really tilted and really stressed about it. Everyone who talked to him personally can attest to that. I didn't. talk to him about his stress and stuff, but I was being told by others, okay? So he was being fucked with big time, okay? And John was getting so aggrieved and felt so injured by this that he decided to file a lawsuit personally. I did not force him to file this lawsuit. I didn't even give him the order, okay? One day he called me and he said, "Haz, I've had enough. I've talked to my attorneys. We are going to file litigation years long. It's going to be against our two very prolific enemies who are obsessed with us." But why they're obsessed, I'm going to fill you in on some information John told me. I can't corroborate it. I can't verify it. I'm just going to tell you what he told me. Okay? Every week he would fill me in on how his talks with his attorneys were going and how the litigation was going, the process of filing it. And he kept saying that it's very promising and this is going to be like a slam dunk case because they are clearly engaging in libel. We have the ability to get, what are they called? Where the court is going to tell Twitter to... Basically, we were going to be able to expose all of these alts. Discovery, yeah. Discovery was going to reveal a lot. And it was, yeah, subpoena, exactly. Very promising. He was like, these people have come after me. They made it personal. I'm going to go after them. He also said, I'm going to bring the party into this as well because the party's also being injured. But John was very motivated, very determined, and like super confident. Every phone call I had with him, he was incredibly confident. And he was incredibly pumped and ready to go. Okay? Then I think in late November, I may be getting, it could be early December or late November. Get this, okay? All right, I'm just going to fucking throw everything on the table and tell you what we know, okay? All right, so John was he was filing litigation against Jonny Socialism, okay? Because he thought this is the guy who's doxing me and whatever, yada, 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 right? But John, as he started to investigate, knew that Jonny Socialism had a friend. The guy's name is Andrew Saturn. You guys may know him. He's like a huge stalker, bizarre, inhuman levels of stalking and obsession of me for years, literally 3 years. This is the first time I've mentioned his name in 3 years. Sorry, not 3 years, 2 years at least, right? And it became very apparent that he was behind Jonny. Like he was the guy. All right, there's stuff you're not hearing. All right, Jonny called me. I think it was August or July. No, it wasn't. It was June. I think it was June. Jonny called me. Very conciliatory, strange call. Where Jonny was like, look, Haz, I want to put an end to the beef. I want to be done with this. We have our disagreements. This call would have blown your mind. That's why I haven't been going after Jonny and them. Because he called me. I said, Jonny, look at what is all this crap you're saying about me? Calling me a Fed, calling us Feds. Jonny admitted in that call that he made many claims against me that were false, that he doesn't think I'm a Fed, that he thinks I'm an honest actor, that I'm telling the truth. Jonny was he was talking a lot in that call about how all of the heat that's coming on him from, I don't know who it was, I wasn't ordering anything, but he was saying it was really getting to him and he's being like, he's being mentally aggrieved by it and it's upsetting him a lot. Now, look, I am over whatever. I was over any personal whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck, all right, whatever. I don't care. So I just told him, listen, Jonny, I am fully prepared to just issue an order publicly, even allow you to come on stream publicly to win standing and just say, listen, they have their disagreements, but we're going to go our separate ways. No more of this viciousness, no more of these personal attacks, no more of any of that. We're going to be done, okay? But I said, but also, does your friend Andrew know about this? Because I want him to also stop the attacks. Now, Jonny goes, Andrew is a completely different beast, basically. Like, he's a completely different case. I'm going to go talk to him and see. Because I was ready for all beef to be squashed and just move on. Because I don't give a fuck, right? And then that's the last I talked to Jonny. And then I never fucking heard from him again. And then we launched ACP and Jonny resumed attacks because he started clashing with Midwestern Marks and whatever more. That is one of the reasons. But this isn't even the best part, all right? Full disclosure. John and his attorneys started to research this Andrew guy and dug into his past of organizing and being on the Bernie campaign locally, Thurston County, all this kind of shit. And they found a pattern of behavior of all these like random women on Facebook complaining about him, saying that he's this like obsessive psycho, he's doing this, he's harassing us constantly. There were so many weird things they were saying. They were saying that Andrew was working for some like Republican politician, that Andrew was faking websites and petitions and faking stuff in the mail about his opponents, that he would all this like stuff that like one guy couldn't possibly be doing, right? Super weird string and pattern of behavior that John, not me, John was uncovering with his attorneys, okay? I shit you not, and I'm ready to go to court to testify this and have a subpoena, release all conversations, because I know they have a way of getting those, okay? And John told me that his attorneys were absolutely fucking convinced. He told me this either in late November, early December, that Andrew was an FBI informant. And then what I said was, if we go through with the litigation, that will be revealed. We're going to find out. I said, we're going to find out. Because he was being personally injured and aggrieved by what was going on, okay? So I said, well, let's find out. I don't, that's what they think. I said, I don't know. I mean, are attorneys experts in this shit? I don't fucking know. But John was confident. He was like, we're going to go through with it and we're going to fucking reveal everything. And they kept attacking John really like aggressively. If you look at them, they were really, really fucking, really, really going after that guy, John. Okay. I go to Russia. When did I leave to Russia? Was it the 10th or the 11th? I don't remember. Okay. Now, the leadership, executive board, and the Politburo decided that they were going to have an in-person meeting in Chicago, in person, in my absence, because they needed to touch base and talk about things. John also had some information he wanted to share with us, right? At the last minute, John, he says something very weird. I'm giving you the precise facts. Not the precise facts, the rough facts, but he said something along the lines of, my landlord needed help fixing a pipe, so I'm going to help my landlord fix a pipe. I don't think, it wasn't even like in his own apartment or whatever. So I was like, in his own room, I mean. So I was like, his own space that he's renting. It was a super weird last minute excuse. And everyone was kind of like, it was in his unit. Okay, got it. Thanks for correcting that. But yeah, it was weird because he rents. Yeah, that's why. Okay. So he's helping his landlord. All right. Christian's saying it wasn't. I don't know. It doesn't matter, right? It was just, everyone thought it was a bullshit excuse, all right? He's got to help his landlord with some shit. What the fuck? Very last minute, by the way, okay? Now, I'm in Russia. I'm in Donbass. Water heater in the laundry room, sure. I'm in Donbass. I don't know what the fuck's going on. There was a meeting they held while I was there. I said, wait for me to get back, and then we can make some serious decisions. Some people got ticked off by that. He was leading the charge on that, by the way. But during mid-December to late December, John started acting strange. John had always vented about how stressed he was and how much... We all vent. Everyone vents. But the qualitative nature of his grievances started to really drastically change after mid-December. And he started kind of sounding strange and taking things a little drastic, like, how could this guy be our chairman? He's late to meetings sometimes. Or he kept kind of really badgering in on it, right? And the minute that he felt that it was the opportune time that he could make his move, which was while I was like on the plane back from Russia. John started calling everyone saying, we need to hold Haz accountable. We need to hold Haz accountable. Well, hold me accountable for what? My absence for the month when I was in Russia on a completely different time zone and getting fucking bombed by HIMARS? I mean, like, he knew that what I was doing was important. He agreed with it. So did everyone else. I didn't go to Russia without the permission of the executive board. They were convinced it was important. So he started like saying, you need to hold him accountable. You need to hold him accountable. Now, Danny jumped in on that, and Danny had grievances over the Haiti thing that I just told you about. The Haiti thing being that we had a discussion with Kim Ives and Dan Cohen, and Danny was not able to present facts to us in a way that convinced us that he was correct about what was going on in Haiti. So Danny, I guess, made his move then, very strangely, and then I was like, okay, look, wait until Friday. I come Thursday night. Just wait till Friday. Let me fucking, sleep. I've been awake for 2 days. And then we'll sit down and talk about whatever. I felt very, betrayed, to be honest, because I was traveling. I was in Russia. It was not something I was doing for fun, okay? And it was just like, I just got back, and while I'm in this vulnerable state physically, they're making moves to plot against me. I'm just like, what the fuck? But whatever. I said whatever. We'll talk. But no, we have to do it now. Listen, I've been awake for 2 days. Let me sleep. We'll have the meeting, okay? I've been traveling on a 30-hour flight, all right? So Friday, I tell John before, I was like, listen, John, I need your grievances to be concrete. I can't, these vague things you're saying, give me specific receipts and specific criticisms. You're saying I'm a cult leader and I'm unprofessional and whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. He kept talking about the night of the convention and the Constitution. By the way, in his video, he says something really weird. He goes, the night of the convention, instead of drafting the Constitution, Haz went and had an impromptu in-person stream. When he was talking about when I was in that room and I was tired and everyone came in the room and I was just like talking to everyone about, Russia and stuff. If you were there, you remember. So John doesn't understand, though, that was the day we ratified the Constitution. How could we draft something we already ratified? So his story isn't even adding up. Okay? That was literally the night of the convention. There was no work we could have done on the Constitution in terms of drafting, because it had already been ratified, okay? John made me feel very paranoid, by the way, that first week, because I didn't know, where this was coming from. Nothing was adding up rationally. Nothing he was saying made sense. Again, all these issues he's bringing up from the past, why didn't you bring them up before even one time? Not even a muttering, not even a word, not even a hint you had these issues. And why are you doing this while I'm in Russia or when I just came back from Russia, on the plane? I don't understand. I was very paranoid, awake for 2 days, very confused, very tilted, very manic, okay? I didn't know what to think. I got a good night's rest, and things became more clear to me. There's more details to this, but I don't want to waste your time. I could get into them if I need to. Anyway, so the meeting on Friday, John came with a list of about 10 sins I've committed. And so among these sins, I don't remember all of them. They were very nebulous. Again, the one that was valid was the meeting on time thing. I think I agreed with that. I said, yeah, sure. But does that justify all of this? I don't know. You could have messaged me, said, hey, it's really bothering me that you're late to these meetings. Don't do that in the future. It's bothering me. You could have said anything. But whatever. That was the one thing. But everything else, I'll give you some highlights of his little list. John claimed that when I fired an RPG in Russia in September, that was unprofessional. He said that this offended certain people internationally who wanted to join the party but couldn't because they were so taken. That was one of the examples of unprofessionalism, is that I fired an RPG. He said that, get this is rich. You guys ready to hear this? He said that I don't do enough to boost other people's social media. meaning him. I'm not doing enough to retweet and boost John's shit. Okay, look. It has nothing to do with the party, first of all, okay? I'm not obligated to boost your shit. But, by the way, had he just reached out to me and asked me one time to retweet him or boost his shit, I would have. He never did that. He was upset that I didn't read his mind, that he wanted me to retweet and boost his stuff. And that was one of his grievances. And it's a grievance that stood out so much that I kind of felt like if this was personal, like that's probably one of the big ones for him, which was that I wasn't giving him enough fucking clout. Which I would have if he asked, but he never asked. I should have just known intuitively that that's what he wanted. Anyway, what else did he say? He said that he kept making these vague insinuations about like, oh, well, he has a temper. He yells on his stream. But couldn't you have known that before you joined the fucking party? He said, oh, another thing he had a problem with, the DSA thing. The DSA thing was the wrong move. Why didn't you fucking say anything? Well, because you just announced it on stream. But you didn't even, like, push back at all. He said, by the way, the DSA was slandering us nonstop, attacking us nonstop. What else? He said something like, he was upset about the chapter enterprises. The chapter enterprises aren't viable. It's a stupid idea. You're going on your streams encouraging people. John, the enterprise idea was here before the launch of the party. You knew about it. We filled you in on it. You knew it was going to happen. You knew I was going to go on stream and tell everyone about it. You knew about this. You knew this was the plan for a long time. You lost faith in it because we don't have the businesses up and running yet. Even though we have at least three cases of very promising businesses that are in the process of starting, which he knew. Again, he kept raising these issues and concerns that he should have a long time ago. But he wouldn't, all right? Now, if by the way, none of this has anything to do with Bree. John talked a lot of shit about Bree himself. So did Danny. They never expressed any kind of solidarity with Bree once. They never stuck their neck out for Bree even a single time. They all thought Bree was a wrecker and an individualist, and they expressed as much to us. Multiple occasions they said that, okay? So it had nothing to do with Bree's nonsense spurg out, okay? So that's completely unrelated, by the way. So at that meeting, I went down the list one by one. And I explained to John everything I just told you now about, because I have the right to respond. You do have the right to challenge me and criticize me, but I also have the right to respond. And my responses were not particularly unconvincing to everyone that was present. They kind of felt like, well, I mean, Haz did have a point. And John and Danny felt betrayed because they were like, nobody was raising their voice against Haz. But you were putting me on trial in front of everyone. I defended myself successfully, and I convinced people that your grievances were not entirely justified. And you saw that as a betrayal. That's why throughout these spurg outs that they're sharing, they're constantly talking about how, like, oh, not one person raised their voice or said anything. Because you challenged me in front of everyone, and I responded to you. And what could they say? They could have said anything they wanted to. They agreed with some things. I also agreed with some things. But overall, the disruption of discipline, such as back-channeling, such as gossiping, that was one of the things we brought up. Like, look, the Politburo are deputies of the executive board. They don't have formally the ability to hold us accountable. That's what the Central Committee is supposed to do, okay? Central Committee forms in the spring. The Politburo, we listened to them, though. But what he was doing in that meeting was he was saying, we are going to hold you accountable, Haz, as the Politburo. Meaning, we're going to discipline you and say you have to resign. But constitutionally, it's not within your power. And I told him that. I said, John, constitutionally, we have to have order here. You can't unilaterally decide that I need to resign and be kicked off leadership just because it's how you feel. even if you convince the entirety of the Politburo, that's how you feel. The executive board would then have to deliberate and make that kind of decision. Okay? That is just the procedure we have written down in our Constitution. You want to say that makes me a cult leader? Call me a cult leader. No, a guy from the Politburo, who's literally my deputy in the legal department, does not unilaterally reserve the right to discipline me or to remove me from my chair position. Okay? It's ridiculous. I told him this in the meeting, and I'm going to tell you guys the same thing here. At our convention, hundreds of people voted to ratify our Constitution. What gives John the right to shit all over our Constitution just because he feels a certain way? What gives him that fucking right? All right? We don't know. But he switched up very suddenly, and he wasn't rationally explaining himself. Line by line, point by point, I responded to everything he said. And what it sounded like to me and almost everyone else there, besides Danny, is that John was throwing everything he could on the wall, throwing shit on the wall to see what sticks, and nothing was sticking. And that was making him very frustrated, and he was looking flustered, he was looking frustrated, and there was a desperation in that man's eyes, which, if you watch the clip, actually, that's a different meeting. Same desperation, though, you know? But yeah, you want to ask me my best guess about the real explanation behind why he did all that? I think he got a fucking knock on the door. I think he was in the middle of litigation. Someone found out this was against a federal informant. He got a knock on the fucking door. Maybe they have dirt on him. I'm not going to reveal everything. But maybe they have dirt on him, and they blackmailed him, and they told him, if you don't do what we say now, basically, you're our bitch now. You have to do what we say. And one of the things they tasked him with is getting everyone in leadership to turn against me. And he literally tried that out of the blue randomly. Like suddenly and out of the fucking blue. All right? I have no proof for this. And granted, there are other theories about what could have happened to John. Maybe it took too much of a psychological toll on him. For someone that likes to talk about psychology so much, he probably was just projecting, and he was brought over the edge because of the stress and how overwhelming he found all of the work to be. That's one of the theories as well. It's my responsibility to give you all of the theories about what's going on with John. But for the first week of the new year, we were all struggling desperately to figure out what the fuck this guy's problem was, because he wasn't being honest about it at any of these meetings. When I responded to John in full, he did not respond to me back. All he did was tell the rest of the Politburo to speak up, and they really had nothing to say in his defense. He didn't. And then finally, John and Danny, for that matter, both acquiesced by the end of that Friday meeting. By the end of the Friday meeting, John and Danny did not say, Haz, you dominated the conversation. Haz, this was not fair. No, we need to do this for longer. Haz, this is not satisfactory. This is not enough. By the end of that meeting, guess what we did? I said, all right, guys, we have to have another meeting in 2 days or however long, where we're basically going to talk about the recruitment drive and stuff like that, right? The actual immediate business we had to attend to. Everyone agreed. Everyone fucking agreed. Everyone was like, all right. Danny goes, comrades, we said what we had to say. Now let's move forward. A new chapter. We're better for this. We're going to be united. John was nothing. He had nothing to say. So, for all we knew, everything was fine. Now, John, it turns out everything wasn't fine for him. For Danny, everything was fine as far as what he was telling everyone. But John was like, Haas still needs to be held accountable. He kept telling Eddie and the Midwestern Marks guys that. He kept telling everyone else that, telling Grayson that. Everyone kept asking him, what do they think should happen? What do they want? He needs to be held accountable. He needs to resign. He needs to do this. Nobody understands what he's going through some shit in his head mentally, right? Because he's got this. I started to get confused because I was like, man, this guy really has an issue with me. Like, straight up, I don't really know this guy that well. And I'm like, he's got resentment toward me. And I put this down to like basic group resentment dynamics. Where like, yeah, I'm the leader. Infrared loves me. I'm super popular. And he's got this resentment toward me. And I just tried not to take it personally. I was like, oh, he's just got this fucking issue with me. I got frustrated because he wouldn't call me. He wouldn't message me. He wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't be upfront about any of it. He wasn't being honest about what his real issue was coming from. And I was just assuming that he was like, oh, you know, he's got this issue with me. It's pathological. It's personal. It's visceral. And that was being corroborated by a lot of the shit he was telling. For example, let me tell you guys something. Let me tell you something really weird, all right? John told some of us that Haz reminds me of this friend I had in high school who took a lot of drugs and was drinking all the time and then got into a car accident and crashed into a car. And he was my best friend and he did that. And they were like, but Haz doesn't do drugs or anything. And he doesn't really drink at all or whatever. And then John was like, yeah, but like, he's like, you know, but like, it just reminds me of that friend. We were just like, what the fuck, dude? They were like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? What are you even talking about, dude? He's like, it reminds me of my friend in high school. I was like, all right, this is like some psychology shit. I'm not a fucking therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm also not his parents, and he's not my infant baby, and I don't know how to intuit his crybaby emotions. So I was getting frustrated with John a lot. Frustration was building up internally from me because, like, this guy just won't fucking tell us what his problem is. But I kept it cool. I didn't say anything. Sunday meeting. I show up on time, on the dot. Everything was planned. Everything was, like, organized. It went very smoothly. The Sunday meeting, which John was present at and was recording at. We sorted out all the urgent business we had to do. And after that meeting, John was messaging people like, I'm very happy about how that went. You know, it was very good. So I'm thinking, all right, he's going to calm down. It's all chill. He just needs space. We're chill. Like, everything's fine. All right. So, like, I basically am like, all right, whatever. Now, the week, John goes silent. He stops talking to anyone. Except Christian. He keeps talking to Christian, and he's keeping up the appearance and the impression that everything is going fine. Don't worry, everything's going fine. Things have been going swimmingly. We're good. Turns out in that period he was drafting his like little manifesto or whatever that he shared. Wednesday's meeting. We have pressing business to attend to. We start the meeting. John opens up in his little camera with his suit. It has been, I have to, in good conscience, he's like super formal. He's reciting a paper. I hear about 3 sentences of it and I just go, John, this is not the time and place for this. We actually have shit we have to get to and attend to. Could have brought this up literally any time before. You had Friday. After Friday, you could have reached out to any of us and communicated that this. But he wanted to make a theatrical performance about his resignation. And I was kind of just like, John, if you want to leave, just fucking leave. We have business to attend to. Just fucking go then. And he wouldn't talk to me. He kept talking. I started to get frustrated, all right? He kept reciting his little paper. I'm just like, he kept telling everyone there, like, due to the problems with Haz and his psych, motherfucker, what problem? I explode. You saw it. That's what Danny shared. He, of all the things to clip, he shared the exact moment where I exploded because I could not take it anymore. A week of trying to get through to this guy and understand what's going on. After all of this, we thinking everything's fine. He's making these constant vague claims about how my leadership and my psychology and this and that, and we don't fucking know why. And I'm just like, dude, clearly this is a personal issue you have toward me that you can't rationally communicate to anyone else. Instead of jumping in this meeting and trying to, at your last-ditch effort, convince all of leadership to turn against me, why don't you just fucking sort out your personal issues with me yourself? Because we tried to deal with this criticism for over a week. I'm exhausted. I came back from Russia on a 30-hour flight. The first thing I did was get on that. We've tried so hard to intuit what your problem is. You're not being transparent about what the real fucking problem is. He's not telling us what he's thinking and what he's feeling. He's just being very vague. It's just the vagueness was killing me. It's like, well, because of Haz's, because of his personality issues and psychological issues. It's like, but what are you talking about, man? I feel like this is something that's convincing to an infrared viewer who's been watching me for years because, like, am I a crazy guy? Of course, on infrared, I'm crazy. Like, I am. But I don't feel like I'm that crazy when it comes to party work. I really don't, all right? What he was saying was very vague, and it just sounded like something like our infrared haters would say about me if the only way they knew me was from my streams. So that tipped me over the edge, and I had enough. I was like, John, you're wasting everyone's time because of this strange, intimate problem you have with me, where you're projecting your high school friend on me. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Stop wasting everyone's time here. We're trying to get work done, and nobody signed up for this meeting where you're just going to have a theatrical performance that you're going to resign. I was so convinced that John had been premeditating this and planning it, and it felt like a huge betrayal. And I'm like, this guy is a lying snake. Sunday, everything is fine, and everything's fine in the lead up, but you're just going to hit us with this out of the blue without any warning and nothing to tell us that. He didn't even tell us, like, guys, Haz, I'm really going to resign. I'm really thinking about it. This is bothering. He didn't say anything, right? So yeah, I mean, I did lose my shit a little bit, and I blew up at him. Because you know what? He's constantly insulting me and talking about my psychology, and put it in fucking perspective, guys. Like, I can only take so much shit as a human being, alright? I tried for a fucking week. You should have seen the Friday meeting where I was like, John, I have nothing against you. I respect you a lot. You're invaluable. You're very important. Trying so hard to be conciliatory, like trying everything. Man, I told him, John, please reach out. I told him at the Friday meeting, John, anything at all, please just reach out to me and talk to me. Like, I don't know what your issue is or whatever. Just talk to me. So, like, that's the context of why I exploded and I got emotional. Because it's like, listen, man, I thought this guy's my comrade. And, like, he's just like, not even treating me like a fucking human being. He's like, he's referring to me as an object to the rest of it. He wouldn't look at me and confront me, And, like, I tried so hard to work with this guy, and he just wouldn't stop making these vague claims about my psychology and all these fucking issues. Now, is it wise to explode and get angry? No, but I'm also human, guys. I'm not here to pretend that I'm Xi Jinping. I'm not. I'm a 28-year-old. They're right. I'm a 28-year-old fucking streamer who has no experience running a party. That's true. I've never pretended otherwise. I'm also a fucking human being. But I do feel like if you knew the full context of how much I put up with when it came to that fucking guy and how much I tried and tried and tried, you'd understand my fucking frustration. Because he was not being honest, he wasn't being transparent, and he was, at that point, insulting all of us because he revealed that he was premeditating this the entire time by writing this entire document and preparing for this entire theatrical performance. Meanwhile, he was lying to everyone, saying that everything is going swimmingly and everything is going smoothly. So I knew that that there was nothing I could have done to dissuade him from resigning. But after he left, we did kind of talk, and we were like, look, Haz, you got angry, but we still, it would be useful to still have him. He's still the lawyer. There's still things he needs to do for us. There's certain legal stuff we need to attend to still, business stuff, procedure stuff. And I'm like, you know what, guys, you're right. I will swallow my pride, and I will literally call John and apologize and do whatever the fuck I need to do or say to just trick him. Yes, we wanted to trick him. to get back on board so that he could finish up, he can't wreck us, and we could replace him. I'm like, you're right. I shouldn't take this personally. Let's just do what we have to fucking do to trick this stupid little baby to not fucking tank us and cause a lot of grief and hardship to our party. And I would say that again. And abso-fucking-lutely, he was acting like an irrational fucking baby, not an adult. He absolutely needed to be tricked and manipulated. You know, to see reason. Because it's like, look, if I have to tell you, John, that, oh, John, you're the best, fine. If it's for the sake of our party, I'll swallow my pride and basically, you know, respond to his emotions because he's a fucking emotional baby, right? He has no sense of duty and sacrifice of self for the collective principle, for the party, for the cause. Fine, but you still have obligations like you need to finish up for the party that you already committed to. So we would rather just have you, you know, continue finishing that up and then you can leave. But we're rectifying that situation, by the way. He's not the only lawyer we have on board. But he was our lawyer legally in U.S. law. That's why, guys. That's why. Because legally, under U.S. law, he was the lawyer of the party that we had. He was acting dishonorably, and we needed him to see reason. He couldn't see reason, so at the very minimum, we needed to just talk to him and say what he wanted to say so he won't tank the party, right? John then told Christian that, don't worry, I'm not going to be a wrecker. I'm not going to attack the party publicly. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. He swore on his honor, and he did anyway. Engaging in crude and embarrassing behavior. Look, that's old. Like, you didn't know who Haz from Infrared was? I'm such a cringe, embarrassing guy, you know? And that's really old news. If you had a problem with it, you should have... Again, nobody buys this in his letter. The chairman did not review the Constitution until the night before. Again, it's not true. It's not true. What I didn't do is go through with you exactly what the Constitution needs to be and how exactly, precisely everything needs to be worded. And the reason I couldn't do that until the night before is because I was debating Bouncy Ben from in New York, a debate I had committed to like 4 months before. And by the way, one of the things John told me is that he said, the fact that you debated that Bouncy Ben guy in New York means you didn't put the party first. Because he thinks the online stuff isn't important. Got it. You should have made clear you're a retarded fucking boomer who has no comprehension of how the world works in 2025 or 2024 when you decided to jump on board with us. If you had this idea that we're going to start ACP and then just like fully go offline, like, fucking Greenland is about to be annexed because of fucking Twitter, all right? Entire governments are going to be dissolved and toppled because of fucking Twitter, all right? Yeah, social media does... If social media matters enough for the DHS and the CIA and all the feds to manipulate it as much as they fucking do, I'm pretty sure we should take it seriously too, okay? Anyway, he never communicated that expectation, though. Again, it's a constant theme. He never raised any issues. He never raised any criticisms. All he did was hold everything in until literally the last minute, right when I came back from Russia after getting bombed by HIMARS, and decide to like betray me then and there because he felt like it was the right time. The chairman deflected and blamed... No, what I blamed you for was gossiping in private and not being transparent about what your fucking problems are, okay? Literally, Mao said the same thing. Just fucking be upfront and honest about what your fucking issue is, instead of gossiping. Cults have arisen from this enablement. Wow. ACP, it's a cult, but there's no abuses, there's no nothing. Nothing, I don't even... interfere in people's personal lives. I don't do anything. I don't tell you what to think. It's just a cult because I'm a very powerful personality. John is so concerned about the cult of personality within the party that he basically harms the integrity and trust in leadership by doing this. Who the fuck should anyone trust now? How is anyone supposed to, you know, he's insulted everyone. He's betrayed the entire Politburo, everyone, because like, fuck, he's hurt trust in leadership. You guys trust me no matter what. That's true. This movement predated the ACP. Has he helped in undermining a party cult of personality by shaking everyone's trust and confidence in the fucking leadership in general as a collective? No, he's reinforced everyone's trust in me. If he had such a problem with a cult of personality, you'd think he would just prove to be a fucking capable leader in the party, in the Politburo. I will be labeled a wrecker, a fed, disloyal, and a traitor. Yeah, you will be, because that is what you are, John. That is what you are. My loyalty has been to the American people. Your loyalty is to your own conception of what constitutes the American people. A conception you cannot actually put into practice by having any kind of collective association, any kind of collective protocol, collective pledge to actually test and practice what that means in a way that is shared with others outside of your own fucking head, John. Fucking idiot. Your individual views about the American people mean very little. You have to prove that by an ability to work with others. We know that the correct proletarian line can only be informed by practice. Yeah, I agree, right? That's the whole point. So what are you going to practically do? You're going to fucking try to destroy the ACP by doxing me and doing all this? Okay, well... But look, let's say John, I want to tell you about John's utopia. There was an age where there was no ACP. Okay, John is saying, we need to destroy the ACP. We need to destroy Haz. Then the true communist movement will take shape. But John, there was already a period of time in which there was no Haz and there was no ACP. It's called literally all fucking American history before 2021. So your utopia is 2020. When is it? Why didn't you show us true? Why have we not seen true communist movements in the literal decades following 1991, before 2021 when infrared came on the scene, and before 2024 when ACP came on the scene? Like, you've had a lot of time to prove practically that, you know, true practice is just wrecking and destroying the party. But our party hasn't always existed. And for the period of time in which our party did not exist, will you be responsible and accountable for all the shortcomings and failures of the communist left in America, if you could even call it that? Will anyone listen to reason? Not you guys, but our haters and our ops. Guys, I don't know you personally. You don't know me personally. I don't care about you personally. I'm sure you don't care about me personally either. I'm sure what you actually care about is some, like, I don't know, mental illness you have, which you project on me. That's fine. But, guys, like, what's step 2 after destroying us? That's what I'm not curious about your motivations for wanting to destroy us. I don't care. I'm curious about what step 2 is. If you're a communist in America, destroy ACP, destroy Haz, destroy Jackson, destroy us, bury us, kill us all. What then? What's step 2? Is there anything else you guys want me to address or talk about that I maybe left out or forgot to talk about? Oh yeah, the thing about us going to New York on Sunday. Again, I was planning, and so was Kyle, to go to New York to basically, well, there's a Costco strike coming up, so that was one of them. But all that was we were going to go to New York, and we were basically going to create more close work between the guys in Buffalo and the guys in New York City. Long story short, we felt like New York City was kind of a bubble, and that there needed to be more influence from Buffalo, because there were kind of, it's for the sake of it being a New York chapter, not just a New York chapter. And I was gonna go in person out of respect to Spiros, to the New York New York City rank and file and leadership, to tell them, like, look, we're not here to disrespect. We're not here to just issue orders. We want to talk and move forward with a good way to go through with this. So that was the whole New York shit. Is there anything you guys feel like I left out? The new Abe. Oh, Abe is somebody who evidently Danny doesn't know, but who the rest of us do know, and that's just Danny's like own and not doing his due diligence to familiarize himself with the rest of the Politburo. Okay, Abe is great. He's known in the party, and he does very good work. He called him Spy Abe for some reason. I don't know why that is. He's been a day one, yeah. You know what I was telling John, guys? I was like, John, imagine if I told the rank and file, not as a threat, but I was like, John, how is that fair to them? I need to be removed as chairman. How would they feel about that? Do they have a say in it? I was like, you get to decide? Just you? I honestly am disappointed that John felt that way about me, but John is not, like, frankly, he's not the subject, all right? I'm sorry. It's not fair to everyone else that they ratified this Constitution and John gets to just decide everything because of his feelings.
New York, what's good, baby? If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Comrades, greetings. If you have not seen what is now public information, begin there, or this will make no sense. This is directly to the...
Yeah, am I supposed to sit through all this? Because I literally can't.
Thing that true proletarian leadership is going to require is that you take a serious break from the crack you're holding in your hand right now.
And do what? What's the goal? I don't get it. Like, all right, form a new party? Go ahead and do it. You know, our party was founded with that in mind. We were like, yeah, you know what? There's going to be splits. But we literally designed it to be like, if there's a split, make it be non-antagonistic. Let them go their own way, you know?
If you think any of these stupid Jackson Hinkle tweets and pro-felicity were ever relevant to these Amazon workers, to everyday Americans, the transparency of each...
You know, everyday Americans don't care about social media. They all watch cable news. By everyday Americans, I mean people who are over 80 years old.
Every one of your actions. There wasn't time in this geographic revolutionary to an American communist. So thank you to the role that you all have played. Continue to have each other's backs. This weekend, as of Sunday, when they quote-unquote touchdown, could be quite interesting. I would be very careful. These are pathological...
What did he say?
I would continue to have each other...
I have a lot of mucus in my nose because I have allergies. But I will, without having my nose, I will just speak like this for the next 30 seconds, and then I have to go fix it.
His backs this weekend, as of Sunday, when they quote-unquote touchdown, could be quite interesting. I would be...
Yeah, he thinks it's going to be like Ninja Turtles, where we're going to like show up and it's going to be a big standoff and it's going to be like fucking New York Ninja Turtles and it's going to be like a big war.
Be very careful. These are pathological liars. These are violent, hating.
But you said we don't fight and we're all talk, so which one is it? We're violent and whatever, or we're just online bullshitters? By the way, how are we violent? Based on what?
Hateful and self-hating human beings. I've had the dishonor to work very closely with Carlos Garrido, Eddie Liger Smith, and Noah Krashevic for the last year and a half. I know these are not men, but I know these lads inside and out. And I've worked with you all now, really just for a few months. So How much of what you say back and forth in those classes over a Zoom could you break down in rice and beans and meat and potatoes and every day?
Is he talking about Carlos's classes? Where Carlos has these classes where he teaches people about a Marxism, Leninism, and he's criticizing Carlos, saying that Carlos isn't a chef teaching people how to cook beans, and therefore nothing he's saying is of any value. Like, what the fuck is he talking about, dude?
Slang and parlance, the way the everyday people of New York talk. You know, this LARPing stuff is over. If I ever work with any of you again.
Yeah, show us some real shit, Danny. Infragrade, what's up, man? Thank you.
And, you know, we'll run these things quite differently. Take the good and leave the rest, as we say in the world of spirituality. And y'all let me know. You know, y'all let me know we all have a role to play in this proletarian revolution, as the immortal Irish revolutionary Bobby Sands teaches us.
Yeah, this is the revolution. Can't overthrow the US government, so you just have to constantly overthrow small organizations that are like 5 months old and pretend you're a revolutionary. But you don't even succeed in overthrowing them. That's really pathetic. I want to raise something with respect to Danny. Is Danny on drugs? Is he on drugs? Can he take a drug test? Did he relapse? Wasn't he like a junkie in his past? I'm not kidding. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? He's talking about beans. Someone correct. He's a drug addict, right? 100% a heroin addict. Doesn't he fucking sound like he's relapsed on drugs and he's gone manic like a crazy fuck? Oh, he was an addict. I don't want to say this if I don't know, but it's like it. Look, John, if anyone's involved in like Fed shit, I'd be like John, right? Danny's a way bigger mystery to me. I'm not saying it's 100% certain with John. I'm just telling you what I honestly suspect him of. Not that he's a Fed, but that he got a knock on the door based on like this crazy shit of him about the lawsuit that he was talking about. But like Danny Shaw sounds like a fucking heroin addict. He sounds like a fucking junkie. Like he relapsed. All right, I want to issue a correction. The only person from DDG who was on the trip was Borut, not Mario. Mario wasn't in DDG. That's a mistake I made. Mario is not in DDG. He's his own guy. I thought he was wrongly. Kyle, if you actually want to come on stream, please do. If there's things I'm missing or leaving out.
So yeah, the whole I've talked with. I actually took a meeting during the stream with some of the members of Buffalo and with Spiros, and I had talked to Spiros earlier today, which was a planned meeting anyways. So it was very timely with all of this. But as you articulated, the long story was basically that Danny essentially has really been manipulating some of the normal tensions that you have within a large chapter like New York, where you have such a big divide between New York City and some of the more peripheral areas like Buffalo, Hudson Valley, places like that. And Danny was blaming all of the problems in New York chapter on Spiros and basically saying he's not equipped. Now, in our party, as you know, but this is more for the audience, the chapter executive role is set up to, actually be the hot seat. It's a difficult position to fill, and it requires people learning and adapting a lot under pressure. So it's normal when members who are in that role, make mistakes and there's errors or whatever. That's expected. But the picture that Danny was painting to me and other members of the executive board was one of, complete abuse of power, circumventing of, appropriate channels of communication, cutting members out of the deliberating process and all of these things. So it was a very bad picture that Danny was painting. And of course, I'm not going to just take someone's word for that. So I planned about a month ago that I was going to be going to New York City on Sunday, and I told Danny this, and that it would be an audit, and Eddie would be coming with me actually, and it would be kind of an investigation into the stuff that he's talking about, and we would get to the bottom of it, and of course set the chapter straight. And during that conversation, which was multiple conversations, I think at one point said, Danny was going on and on and on about how, Spiros is really fucking everything up, whatever. And the chapter's so, dysfunctional, and this is all, the party is, and these crazy things. And I'm like, well, if it's really as bad as what you're saying, the only option is going to be to go get Spiros in front of all the other members, and basically, and I actually said the words castrate. I did say that, and jokingly, is remove him from power in front of everybody. Symbolically castrating him in front of everybody. Because Danny likes these sort of psychobabble nonsense, and I don't know. He laughed.
I want to say for 1 second. All right, putting it in that context, it sounds weird to me and to outsiders, but if you're talking to Danny Shaw, who's a psychobabble extraordinaire, okay, I get it, I guess, because I read his psychobabble shit about me, and he is like super into that. So yeah, it's just out of context. He is a psychobabbler, and he that's his forte. That's what he likes, I guess.
Yeah, the first thing I had a conversation with Spiros. The first thing he says is, "Hey, you're not bringing pliers to New York City, are you?" So, yeah, it seems like there's some things we got to figure out with the New York chapter, just like we have to figure out with the party as a whole, as far as getting our members engaged properly and reaching our full potential as far as our manpower pools are concerned. But these are just normal problems. I don't see New York as some sort of extraordinary case that's really bad. I talked with the Buffalo guys with Spiros earlier today, or during this live stream actually, and that was the shocking bit, which is that Danny had apparently for, I think it was since Christmas, around Christmas time, he created a chat, which he was accusing Spiros of creating all these parallel communication channels, so that's interesting, but he created a chat with the Buffalo guys, the people in the Buffalo chapter, and started talking to them about, basically heightening the contradictions between the Buffalo people and Spiros and the New York City people, and trying to really pit them against each other. And the Buffalo people weren't really for it, but, the Politburo member coming in and having this weird, strange breach of protocol conversation about this stuff. And so they kind of just let him talk, but they weren't really convinced by any of it. And then he, of course, as he did, he sent his long Twitter ramble to everybody in the party personally, but he sent it to them. And since he was in the chat and would actually read the responses, they basically ripped him a new one, which was very funny to see. And overall, it's just Danny was pretty much creating a lot of the tension that was existing in the New York chapter. And one of the big things he claimed was that, the quote-unquote infrared guys in the party had created a faction that was excluding any of the other, large pool of people that have come into the party. And that there was this weird, and that's why he has this whole fixation on the cult mentality and everything else. And he's claiming that, that's what was going on in New York. And I've talked to some other people in New York who don't come from the infrared, community, who come from Midwestern Marks, who come from just people outside of either of those circles, PCUSA maybe, CPUSA even, people who are just new to the sphere, and I really don't detect a lot of that. So a lot of these things that Danny was basically informing about. Turns out, on closer inspection, even from, not even being on the ground, a lot of it just seems to be nonsense. So he essentially created a problem that he could exploit to pull people out of the New York chapter, and then pin it all on me specifically as the director of personnel as the one who is coming in to destroy the unity of the chapter, which he specifically
it's crazy
undermined.
how Machiavellian this guy is. It's really crazy. Do you think, Kyle, it was all pettiness over Haiti?
Oh no, I mean, Danny Shaw has really not liked me for a long time, and this predates.
But this is
the Haiti
incredibly
situation.
like methodical plotting and planning against the party. What's his motivation?
I really don't understand Danny's motivations to a large extent. I know it's all personal, really. It's all really just personal, petty grudges. I think Haiti is a large component of it. I think that's the hill he decided to die on, and the thing that's, he feels like with his warped understanding of social media is somehow going to get him more traction and maybe potential, credibility down the line. But I think it's just a large amount of resentment. I was in I am in Midwestern Marks, and when even when we were working with him through that angle, he had a lot of gripes with how we were as Midwesterners. He actually came and visited all of us who were prominent members of Midwestern Marks in person on a little road trip. He came and came to my house here in St. Louis and everything else, and it was always he kept saying that he's an ethnographer, like he's like traveling around the country learning about Midwesterners and shit, and he like treated us as like some weird bug in a jar. He's a very strange man, and he thinks in weird psychoanalytical terms. As you've highlighted, he has a history of substance abuse, and it's just a very strange mix match of conflicting personality sort of signals, and he's a very strange man overall. I don't understand the hyperfixation, the pettiness. Every single time him and I have had a problem, I've maintained my position, because that's what you do when you have opposing views. And I always attempt to, okay, let's move past it, Danny. We're just not going to agree on this. Let me give you some rope, and I'll give you an inch, and he ends up taking a mile and trying to backstab me every single time this happens. I mean, this is probably the third time that but this is obviously much more severe. Every single time it grows in magnitude. So it's just his personality type. He holds on to very petty grudges for years, for literally years, and won't let it go. But he'll let you think that everything's fine.
That's why I lost all respect for him, because I can't take you seriously if you're pretending everything is fine, but you secretly have such a deep level of resentment and hatred or whatever. It's so comical to me.
Yeah, it's really stupid. I really don't get it. He's not pragmatic in the least. That goes without saying. I'm completely convinced, and as you articulated during the Haiti meeting, my God, I mean, it just became so obvious that was a core problem with him, was that he just refused to, in any sense of the word, make a compromise. And it wasn't even because of the facts and, the material reality on the ground in Haiti or anything like that. It was literally just because he has this burning hatred for Kim Ives and Dan Cohen. Because again, he was personally slighted. Originally, he was, trying to work with them, and they ended up not really wanting to work with him.
They didn't recognize him enough. He wasn't
he
wasn't getting enough credit for his brilliance as a great journalist.
Yeah, absolutely. Now there's some parallels as far as the lack of recognition issue for what they perceive, John and Danny, as a lack of recognition for their special roles or whatever the fuck. There's a parallel between the two of them in that regard, where they both feel like they weren't recognized for all of the stuff they're, supposedly doing, while at the same time not recognizing that others are, like yourself specifically, or other members of the executive board, are working tirelessly as well. So you have this strange situation where there's really no way to resolve it, because in a party setting, how you resolve issues is based off of the facts and the positions and what the data says and objective, sort of criteria.
Danny claimed that I live with my parents on the second floor, and then I live with my parents. Why do you think he said that? Like, what was the point?
He's trying to malign you, which obviously I know is not the case.
But why?
It's a ridiculous
what's
claim.
the motivation for that lie? I don't get it. Like, why would he say that if not to threaten my parents?
I think that's a portion of it. I think he's definitely somebody who has absolutely no problem with, maligning people he sees as like some sort of cosmic evil, which is definitely how he sees the two of us, and threatening their families or anything else. I really don't put that past
and
Mr. Shaw.
Why did he claim that? Why did he claim that we were running guns?
Again, I don't understand that. The only thing that makes sense is the explanation you gave. During the meeting, we had discussed the fact that, we were interested in what Russia or China's perspective was from a geopolitical standpoint, because, once again, they had blocked the resolution in the United Nations about the Kenyan peacekeeping mission or whatever. And so we had asked them that in a roundabout way, and they assented that,
Somebody in the chat goes, I really hope you're not being framed.
Oh, I 100% feel like we're being framed.
That's exactly so fucking, scary, because they do that. The government does do that, and I have fucking done nothing. I've done nothing. I've done literally nothing illegal at all. I have never fucking... I wouldn't even know... Running guns, I don't know, it's such a specific accusation that it really seems like they're trying to frame me for something.
Well, the interesting part of that is in his statement, one of the 3 articles that he wrote, which, by the way, he started putting up those final drafts on January 2nd, so he's been literally just sitting plotting this whole time. It's really disgusting behavior. But besides the rat-like behaviors of Mr. Shaw, he mentions in one of these articles that he went and met with his personal lawyer and signed a sworn affidavit that he was not party to any conspiratorial plans to run guns or whatever the fuck. So, he's definitely he's beyond the point of even
right at this moment. Actually, I was hesitant to reveal this, but then I remembered that Danny agreed to a recording. We do have a recording of that. We do have a recording.
We do.
Yeah, we have a recording.
Everybody, yeah.
And we're going to talk with our legal to see if there would be any, problems if we just released it. But
we should also ask Dan and Kim.
Yeah, we'll ask Dan and Kim, and we'll just unedited, we'll just fucking release the whole thing.
That would be fine.
That meeting that he claimed. And then everyone can see for themselves if there was anyone ever talked about running guns or anything like that. So we'll just fucking release it, That way, but then what can Danny say? There was another secret meeting that, he already set the precedent of lying,
Right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if everybody caught that, but in one of his articles, fucking 2.5 hours or whatever of footage and 3 articles, this man has a lot of time on his hand not being spent productively for the party. He talks about how he went to his lawyer and got a sworn affidavit statement saying that he had no part in any conspiratorial for gun running and everything else. So he's not only opened up the door to federal investigation.
I don't even know how they would fabricate that. I don't know how the fuck they would do it. I have no idea. You could
he's created
I
Yeah,
don't know
well,
where, but I don't know how could you possibly connect me to something like that?
right. I mean, I would have no idea. It doesn't. They don't actually have to have any tangible proof. What he's done is actually swung the door wide open for federal investigation because he has cautiously preempted to the federal viewpoint a potential investigation into the matter, and which gives it, in the eyes of the federal agents who determine to take up these investigations or not, more credibility to that fact. So I mean, he knows what he's doing. The man went to Colombia, okay, and those who know, and
Now that people are saying Rico, and it's so weird because he made these insinuations about, eventually they're going to do violence or whatever and intimidation. And it really sounded like, this was about attempting to create the pretext for accusing us of crimes.
Correct.
So,
I mean, he taught at, college, a law college, CUNY Law or whatever. Not teaching law, teaching, I think, Latin American studies or something, I don't know. But he taught at that college. He worked with a lot of legal professors and everything else. He knows all of this shit. So, this is premeditated and definitely a plan of his. And I know for a fact, due to, conversations I've had today with individuals, that he's been planning a lot of this stuff since, Christmas. So this doesn't even date back to...
before, had to have been.
Yeah, of course, before,
I think he just
but
started
at least
making moves to
verifiably.
fill people in on his plot, like to join him for Christmas.
Precisely. Yeah. I mean, it's just, that's the earliest verifiable date that I have so far. Of course, there's probably
Did you guys
things...
say something
there's
else about
things I
him
don't know.
going to Colombia that cast suspicion on him?
Of course.
Shaw, or do we not want to talk about that?
Well, it is a known fact that, all of the Fed boys go to Colombia to study there for that. So, I mean, that could just be a coincidence. That could not factor into this whatsoever. I would never want to cast aspersions without evidence, but that is something that is a bit concerning with all this.
Now that everything's public, everyone should have the same suspicions we do, because we do have them, frankly.
Yeah. I mean, a bunch of people in the party, rank and file members, when they saw this, found it also, again, this is very conspiratorial, and I'm not sure what to make of it, but people were talking about the fact that he had just went to Kenya, and that, he had met with Booker. And Booker there was just an attempted assassination on him less than, a week ago? I mean, it's completely speculative, but again, these are alarming trends. And overall, and also, I mean, do we even want to talk about the whole, Venezuela issue here? I mean, I don't even know if we want to get into that, but I mean, there's many things very concerning about this entire situation, that now that we have a more complete picture of the puzzle, we have the motive, we have the actual action, a lot of these things make a lot more sense, and there's a much more clear picture of what's exactly been going on.
I mean, look, it's to be expected we get infiltrators and shit. What I'm curious about is why now? That means it would look, if the thing that's a little worrying is, like, infiltrators are there for the long haul. You stay in for the long haul. Why did they jump ship now and reveal themselves? That's
right,
concerning.
exactly. That's what I don't completely ever understand. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why specifically now would be the time, besides, of course, the fact that we know internally that we have things that we're planning to do for Q1 of this year that I think will take off to a point where our party will really get into higher stage of capabilities, the recruitment drive and everything else that we have planned around that. The fact that we actually do have at minimum 3 businesses that are about to be taking off, started by chapters. We've gotten our ducks in a row in an incredibly quick time. I mean, a lot of the goals that we're talking about are things that we didn't really envision
Doesn't
until...
that make John's crying about the chapter enterprises being a failure really weird? Like, He
Well,
made
at
it
this
seem
point,
like he made it seem
yeah,
like
at
it was a
this,
total failure, and then I talked to you guys, and you're like, no, actually, it's pretty promising, and there's stuff.
well, what's
towards-
also really confusing about his portrayal of that is that he sat in all of those business meetings, and he had nothing to say negative whatsoever, one way or the other, about any of those business plans. And
You see, guys, if there's anything I was naive about, it was like those dynamics. Where like, you really gonna be a bitch and just conceal everything you're feeling and wait till the last minute to let everything out? When have we ever told you you can't, push back on what we're doing if you don't agree? And people are gonna look at that clip of me yelling at John after, Kyle knows, after a week of him just lying to us about how he's fine and was ready to go forward, and he decided to crash a meeting that was about urgent, pressing business randomly after having the day before said everything was fine, we don't need to dwell on this anymore, whatever. It's crazy,
yeah, I mean, also think about this aspect. I mean, we are about to launch the recruitment drive. Literally, it was supposed to be Monday. We're supposed to have all of this energy that we have expended in the last, almost 3 weeks now. That's a severe blow in a very critical time as far as, what we could be spending that time on. Now, in my opinion, this stream, the point of it is to put all this shit to bed and to settle it, and that's that.
That's what I wanted to tell you guys. Listen to me. I don't want to tweet about this. I don't want to constantly make posts. I don't want to fucking dwell on this because we have shit to do. And it's like, I said what I said. I revealed everything. If there's things I missed and they want to reveal more, we'll respond in proportion, okay? Because we're not telling you everything about them. Full disclosure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're just talking about in relation to the party. I mean, we have plenty of things.
Yeah. Again, so everything will be proportional. They keep saying, oh, it's a cult. Nobody ever contradicts Haz. You don't know. You don't know. You really don't know how wrong that is. How stupid it is.
Ironically, as much as
the executive board chat is constantly full of arguments all the fucking time. Me and Kyle argue more than anyone, by the way.
Yeah.
We just don't show weakness to the outside. We remain unified.
We also just principally resolve the matter.
We resolve
and move
it
forward.
like men. We resolve it. You actually fight for your position to make sure everyone's perspective is always being understood. And that's why we're united, because we solve these issues.
Exactly.
And that's why all the executive board wasn't attacking Haz. Doesn't mean they have no criticism on me. It means that their criticisms are in the executive board communications internally. I am not answerable to anyone right now except the executive board on a formal level. So they have to keep me in check. I have to be accountable to them every day. And that is what happens. So when someone from outside wants to do the same, it doesn't sit well with anyone because it's like, motherfucker, you don't know the struggle sessions we go through all the fucking time of arguing and whatever to come to a common position,
Precisely. And there's most parties don't understand democratic centralism. They lean too heavily in one direction or the other. I think that our party has a very fine balance on this. We have disagreements all the time. You and I, Haz, we resolve them. We come to a position, and we follow the centralism part of it, which is that, all right, that's the decision. We're doing it. Full faith and support in what that decision is, what that synthesis of those two opposing viewpoints became, and that's how we move forward. And that's always how it's been. So,
Danny
have conversation with him.
We were so young, and he was like old and so experienced. You guys are a bunch of you're a bunch of know-it-alls. Danny, we're not saying that. We're just saying you had your fucking chance, and you have nothing to show for it. who's never had any success to ever show for anything in your whole fucking life when it comes to organization or anything. You're 40-something, congratulations. Where's your decades of experience? Nothing! I mean, you fucking what? Got kicked out of PSL? I don't know what I don't know what happened with that. But you don't know what it's like to build a party. We didn't say we know everything. We're just saying, Danny, you are at best on the same level as the rest of us, young ones. Because in decades, nobody's done a damn fucking thing. So you were all equal now. Your age and your seniority means nothing. John kept saying, you guys are acting like you know everything and you have all the answers. What did he mean by that? I don't get that. I don't get what he meant by that. But what that we are... He meant, I guess, that we believe with certainty we have to move forward with the work. Absolutely. We're not saying that there's a guarantee it's going to be successful. We're saying we need to test, and then if we fail, we'll come back and do something else. But we need to move forward as a party, absolutely. Doesn't mean we think we fucking have everything figured out, we know everything.
It's a fundamental lack of faith on John's part, I feel. I think that him saying that we know everything, no, we don't, and we have admitted that many times. But what we do have is faith in the process, and that we will achieve the right answer.
I mean to cut you off. I do that a lot.
No, you're fine. It's fine.
Guys, these guys, they'll make these commitments, and they'll say, oh, yeah, and then they just totally, John will make the commitment. Oh, I'm not going to badmouth the party in public. Of course not. He told that to Darg. Look what... And he just does it. If there's no honor, if your word means nothing, what are you worth as a person?
He also told Christian the day before he resigned that he would never resign from the party. So, these people are just not...
I forgot that.
Honest. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
There you go.
Also,
he said he would never resign the day after he resigns. And not only that, while he said he would never resign, he was drafting up a whole manifesto about why he's going to resign. Tell me this guy has character, and he has an integrity of character, and he wants to make things so personal. Where the fuck is his honor? Where the fuck is his character and integrity?
It's also, I'd like to note for the viewers that during this stream, I think probably following the comments about... her former boyfriend. She deleted her X account. She deactivated it again.
She'll be back. Stay tuned.
Oh, I'm sure she will be. Stay tuned.
Anyway, look. But no, I wanted to say this. If we can release the full... you know what's going to really expose the public to the true character of Danny Shaw?
Face in that meeting?
If we release that meeting... Oh my god, yeah. You guys are gonna fucking see. You guys are gonna see how much he was just... I almost want to fucking pull it up right now, but we have to...
Oh my god. Yeah, no, we definitely have to consult with the other two guys.
Because we don't know if he's gonna claim later that, I didn't agree for it to be recorded.
Oh no, he definitely agreed. He screamed during the Friday meeting, release it. If I can screamed it. Remember?
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
He was screaming that we're...
Okay.
Yeah, he screamed it like 20 times.
We're gonna check in with Dan, Kim Ives, and maybe we'll send it to them first and see what they think, and then we'll probably just release it. And then you'll see the gun running, all the shit he was claiming. You're gonna see. It's about, and I have recorded about 2 hours of it.
Yeah,
I think
it was a long meeting of just Danny saying, "Oh yeah, you're right,"
and then Kyle getting upset.
I was so fucking pissed.
The specific way he fumbled. Remember, he would tell us, "Barbecue just burned down this neighborhood." And then we would be like, yeah, why would he do that? That's so horrible. We want to ask Dan and Kim what's going on. We asked Kim and Dan, why did he burn down this neighborhood? They're like, that was actually a police neighborhood. You should see Kyle's face. He's like,
oh my God.
Danny, why didn't you tell us it was a police neighborhood? You understand, in Haiti, barbecue is fighting against the government and the intervention troops and shit. So it's like, It's a war, and he's fighting all these other warlords too, who are allied with the U.S. and stuff. So, you know, it's just like Danny really did not give us an accurate picture of what was going on. But barbecue doesn't need our help. By the way, the whole point of mediating that discussion was about media. It wasn't about arms. It was about like propaganda. Like, is it justified to villainize barbecue like this? Or isn't it? You know? That's what it was about. It was not about smuggling weapons from fucking Russia. Why the fuck would we smuggle? Why would anyone want? You know how stupid that is? From Russia? Do you know geography, how far Haiti is from Russia? Well, maybe Russia will give barbecue like some planes or something, or some tanks. Is that what he's insinuating? We're gonna running guns? They have guns in Haiti. The only thing we could be running are tanks and missiles and planes. And how could we do that? And when I make $3,000 a month, besides this month actually, which is, you know, thank you guys. Yeah, we're gonna give barbecue a fucking Orezhnik to launch against the you know, all his rivals. Sure.
You remember when I got in trouble for snapping on him the limited amount I did in that meeting? And
Kyle, someone just pointed out the guns on my wall we're gonna run those to Haiti. Barbecue, here we come. You want a sword too? There's a sword. There's two swords. One sword, two swords, two pistols, two revolvers. That's the whole thing.
It's just so ridiculous. And then the cherry on top through all of that was Molotov is 12 people or whatever.
That was when I realized Danny has destroyed his character in my eyes for the rest of my life. When we found out how many people are in Molotov, the Haitian masses, according to Danny, the masses have spoken. It's like 5 people who spend their time doing marches for the police in Haiti, by the way.
Yeah, that was the other one. They're fucking were organizing marches through neighborhoods for police to like praise the police.
Oh,
it's like,
Kyle,
what?
Your face during when all the I want.
It's right now. I'm reliving it. It's
I
awful.
want the public to see that meeting. It was Danny. It was for your sake we didn't release it.
Honestly,
we were saving you from embarrassment, dude.
We were embarrassed.
Let's be clear.
For him.
Yeah, we are trying to help you, man. Now I want you guys, especially those of you who are not from the community tuning in, I want you to compare and contrast all the crazy shit from all this drama. You want to know why? Go on our ACP main and look at what our party's been doing for the past 5 months. Look at what we've actually been doing. That is why. It's all about burying and destroying that. That's literally all it is, you know? All this drama for what? Anyway, guys, stay tuned. Stay tuned.